like, was it an iPad or something? And started like
Kicks up on the table.
Yeah, that was
man.
a good one. Always love to see the fun little ceremonies as they go along. But it's going to be a tough road either way for either of these players here. The first map is going to be Dusk Towers.
Yeah, man, Dusk Towers. It's kind of a very standard first map, a map you look at and you're like, yeah, I'm okay with starting what could be a brutal best of 5 twice on Dusk Towers. And I think it's the right call for both of these players. They get a chance to really flex their macro muscles, as it were.
Yeah, we'll see. And it's all going to be about the early game and seeing what Kelazhur can get done. Huck has this very gateway-centric style. How can he, exercise that in the correct way, and what kind of defense for that heavy warp prism, heavy gateway aggression that Huck is so well known for?
Yeah, but it looks like we've spawned into our first map, so let's go ahead and introduce our players. In the top right-hand corner, playing for Team Root, it is Kelazhur.
And his opponent, spawning in the bottom left of Dusk Towers, it's the red Protoss, EG's Huck.
Oh, man. Huck, of course. I think I'm just going to keep coming back to this. Huck is so experienced. A lot of Huck fans in the crowd here today. Yeah. I don't know if you guys can hear the crowd, but they've been an absolutely amazing crowd this whole weekend. And I'm just so glad to have these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Last time Cheesadelphia won, you and I were both here for it. Here we are again in the finals of Cheesadelphia 2. And just in one tournament, I think, 5 or so months ago, we've really grown a lot. The crowd is bigger, the player base is bigger, the players are better. It's just we're on the up and up right now, and it's very exciting to be a part of this.
Yeah, man, and this couldn't have gone better, guys. Thank you so much to everyone that helped make this possible. Thanks to you, Jack, for coming out. Thank you, Rob, our wonderful unsung hero of production. It's why this stream is able to look so great, working through all kinds of issues and just putting on a great show for us. So, man, just thanks to everyone. I'm glad we're here, and it looks like we're starting to get our game underway.
Yes,
players.
Indeed. We do have Huck going for the nice, cozy, warm, safe build of the single gas, expanding, and you get that beautiful Cybernetics core up. Sometimes you get the gas before the core, sometimes afterwards. He's opting for the after the core option over here and starting to get his warp gate research underway and building that wonderful IMBA unit we all know and love, the Adept.
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, Adepts are kind of the what's the term? Like the standard
thing ever. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, like, they're like the standard issue rifle against Terran. Yeah. Like your Adepts, you get your Adept. Some people play like.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Not to interrupt you, but quick 3CC from Kelazhur over here. Very interesting. Expecting, I think, Huck to play safe and going for the greedy play. I think he's going to get away with this.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a big map, Dusk Towers. If you're going to do this, do it in the first game of the series on a pretty big map that's very defensible. Like I think this is a cool choice from Kelazhur. And something Fear Dragon and I were talking about earlier is Kelazhur, despite the fact that he's a bit of an up-and-coming player, he's a new guy, he's not afraid to take the kind of risks that champions take.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks a lot to his character as a player and to his ability to maybe come through the brutal gauntlet that's going to be 2 best-of-5s with Huck if he wants to take home this trophy and the $1,000 payday.
Yeah. It's really exciting to see a player like Kelazhur doing well. He's been up-and-coming for a long time. I think had the brackets been different at IM Katowice, I think he could have gone a lot deeper than he did. Neeb, really tough first-round opponent. So can't take too much away from Kelazhur. He's definitely one of the stronger players in the Americas. And he's a nice guy. He's like one of the nicest humans that I've ever talked to. He's like ridiculously just really friendly and kind to everybody, very respectful. I think like he gave someone a bite of his pizza today because they were like he was in the middle of eating his pizza and I think EJK was hungry. Like, hey, would you like a bite of my pizza if you're hungry? Like, this dude's a hero, and he's going to be setting up over here. We've got the Marines in place as the Warp Prism goes across the map here.
Yeah, and I think with all of these just kind of standard macro-type play, it's an excellent way to start the series. We're going to see some explosive stuff going down, and Yeah, man, blink play. Blink play is great, right? Like hypermobile all over the map. Huck going to be dropping a bit with this warp prism that looks to be coming in. And he's got some adepts in here, so let's see what damage he can get done.
Yeah, Hero Marine moving across the map. Going to get a good scout off. And these two adepts. That nerf of long ago coming into play here. Those would be 2 dead SCVs, but it takes 3 hits to kill a worker if you're an adept. And oh, look at that. Really well defended over here from Kelazhur. Splitting up the army. Really being experienced with how to defend the adept. Having the right units in the right place at the right time. It can be very, very tricky to deal with, but first round of aggression defended quite well. Deflected by Kelazhur. Round number 2 is incoming, but gonna find a hard time getting into this angle. Even a turret going up now.
Yeah, and it looks like Kelazhur is feeling so comfortable that he's going to float his CC down to his 3rd. He's ready, and you know what? Huck's respecting it, man. He has to back off, at least for the moment. That Warp Prism's going to stay. It's going to constantly threaten posture and just offer opportunities for Huck to find damage throughout this game.
Yeah, and Huck has had a good read strategically on the scenario. He's able to get his 3rd base up right about the time that Kelazhur's base is landing, so he's not going to be too far behind economically.
Yeah. And it looks like Huck adding on some sentries, maybe worried about any kind of bio pressure that could be coming out. Just looking to continue to power up, man. Continue to get ready to go into the longer game, the head-to-head. This is the game that we haven't really seen between Huck and Kelazhur yet this tournament. All their games in the previous series they played were just so incredibly scrappy. Like, they rarely cracked 100 supply throughout the entire series.
Oh my god, that positioning. That turret positioning was just so phenomenal. At the exact moment that he was there, he was getting hailed down on by 2 right away. 3 workers have been killed so far, and this is that multitasking. This is that high-level adept pressure that we love to see from Huck, getting 2 locations at once, cutting into so much lost mining time over here, and totally ready to move back into the natural. Oh, no, but he's going into that same spot again.
Yeah, it looks like
I don't know about that.
Yeah. I mean, even if he gets more damage off the back of this, it's going to take away that threat. And I think at any given time, the threat of the Warp Prism is sometimes more dangerous than the Warp Prism itself. A few more SCVs will fall to these Adepts. Looks like it will almost be 10, not quite going to finish.
Oh, he's in the main now. He's dealing more damage. 11 workers killed so far. If he focuses down the weak ones, yeah, and look, there he goes, focusing them down, getting up to 13 kills. It is 53 workers to 65 at the moment. Huck in an excellent place once again due to fantastic Warp Prism harassment.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a staple of Huck over the ages. He's a guy that controls his units correctly. Like, if there's one thing you can count on Huck to do, it's to make you feel very uncomfortable. And I talked with him about this. He said against Kelazhur, he thinks Kelazhur is a better macro player, and the more chaotic he makes the games, the more they'll favor him. And we see him going for that strategy. Dust Towers is not a particularly chaotic map just by its nature, but Huck is trying his damnedest to make it one.
Yep, and interesting, going over to the left side to expand, and this is going to get scouted right away. Kelazhur, I think, has, what was it, a couple of Widow Mines in there?
Yep, yeah, it's a couple of Widow Mines. He's going to be trying to maybe drop him into the mineral line, see what damage he can find. Huck has ready to greet him, well, not all that much and no detection. Are they going to be able to get burrowed? No, he's catching it right away. One gets down, takes out a couple of Adepts here. The second one goes down. But in terms of economy, Huck manages to continue to preserve his mineral line.
Yeah, very good reaction time there from Huck. Avoids the more important damage, which is the economic damage. That's what puts you behind long term. That's the kind of damage that he dealt to Kelazhur early on. Kelazhur's trying to come back in that way, but I think the real story here is he's got about double the army supply of his opponent right now. Kelazhur does.
Yeah, and now Kelazhur stepping out across the map once again. If Huck is able to mount a good defense here, he's going to be in a very favorable position with that 4th base. But he's trying to buy time with the Warp Prism back at home, but Kelazhur doesn't look to be having any of it. There is no waffling jack. Kelazhur is parading across the map, and he's ready to put the pressure on. At very least, going for this 4th here, walking up the ramp now.
All of the... Ooh, look at this Widow Mine positioning. He's really sort of zoning out the forces. Also with this... Oh, man, this is fantastic positioning over here. Oh, my God, all of those Adepts, so many Adepts going down because of the Widow Mines, and it looks like he's going to be able to get this base as well.
Yeah, this is an absolutely terrific position from Kelazhur. He made it pretty much impossible to walk up that ramp and engage cost effectively. That first mine stripped all the shields off everything. The second one managed to clean up a lot of the gateway forces. But now back at home, it looks like looks like more damage being done by Kelazhur. Huck trying to defend this large bio force.
Oh, man, that
Shoving
pylon, though. Big storms. A lot of his bio is weak.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that. Might have been a bit of an overextension here from Kelazhur.
Yeah, I think when you're a guy like Kelazhur that likes to be aggressive, likes to bounce around, it can be easy to sense a moment of weakness and perhaps overcommit into it.
Yeah.
Huck has shown us he's very good with the storms, and the previous series, a lot of the story of that was Kelazhur using marine-heavy compositions, beating Huck down to a pulp, and then Huck manages to kind of clutch with the storms and pull his way back in. And we see the Marauder heavier being perhaps a bit of an adaptation from Kelazhur.
And we do have the Ghost Academy. I almost said Ghost Warren. God, I'm being very Zergy today. The Ghost Academy coming in here, so you will see some ghosts, maybe some nukes. I always hope for some nukes. We usually don't get them, but maybe a special day. We'll see. Nice Widow Mine field, but it will be detected immediately. I've got to say, Huck has been really on top of his observers the entire day today.
Yeah, and it looks like Kelazhur are going to meet Huck at the front here, but an absolutely huge drop going around the left side. This could get really weird as Huck's army is getting ready to put the pressure on top of Kelazhur, and in return, Kelazhur is lining up to try to do a lot of damage in Huck's own bases.
Trying to focus down some of those High Templar. Doesn't manage to get too much done. Ooh, nice big hit there. Not exactly what he needs, and there's another.
Yeah, this is not really the position where you want to be engaging with Widow Mines, unfortunately. Splash in a tight choke doesn't generally go well for the player sitting under the splash fire. And now this bio going ready to step up. Kelazhur not choosing to go at the back. He thinks he smells weakness at the front. He's going to step right up here. Warpin's coming from
I don't know
Huck.
about this. He's going to get sandwiched, I think. Oh, he's moving in very quickly. But the Blinks take out a fully loaded medevac.
Yeah, that was absolutely brutal. He bled out a lot of bio there as well. And
you know what? There's no fourth base still for Huck.
Yeah, this is looking like a very good start for a Brazilian Terran player. And we're going to see if maybe he's actually the clutch player here today.
Yeah, we're going to find out. He's trying to get in position. He's better hurt. Oh, this is a really great move from Huck. He's going to check, I think, this expansion just for a sec. He's moving in. He's going to be able to, oh, man. Oh, just beautiful. Snaps the neck of that Liberator immediately with that blink forward. More and more Liberators going down. Fantastic storms. All the bio is stuck in the corner. Fantastic positioning here from Huck. Nice big concave, but it looks like he's getting pushed back.
Yeah, and now all this bio is going to be able to get right on top of this army, it looks like, as it stims, trying to chase perhaps a single Archon is going to be most of the splash damage here for Huck, but all this bio is so red, a couple of Archon hits can do tremendous damage.
He is really dancing on the edge of a cliff here with his micro. Such low hit point units, like you said. What is it, one medevac there?
Yeah, it looks like
lost all his medevacs.
Yeah, man, I mean, Huck's done such a good job of every time there's an engagement, sectioning the army and chasing down any of those medevacs that try to split off, try to evacuate. But now stepping up with, like, pure Stalker, I think that could be a bit uncomfortable. Huck agrees with me and blinks back.
Did he just stim Marauders and one Marine to kill? I think that happened. Bit unfortunate there. We'll lose some Marauders as a result. The rest of the force coming in. Oh, the EMP's not ready, but pulls back pretty quickly. That's 3 storms that didn't do quite as much damage as he would have liked.
Yeah, but now Huck's cleaned up some of those Widow Mines at the front, and this allows him more flexibility in maneuvering, getting that concave. The storms go down, this bio engaging. Kelazhur thinks this is a fight that he can take. A couple of Archons step up. Kelazhur manages to get one. It looks like Kelazhur kiting back as best he can, but there's
man,
so
he's got
bio.
such good long term. He's got better upgrades. He's got the better economy. If he can just hold on here, he'll be in a great position, but this is a terrible, terrifying force from Huck.
Yeah, and Kelazhur doing the best he can. Kelazhur knows how to make a lot happen with a little, and this is obviously showing as he continues to chip away at the important units of Huck, and he stabilizes once again, Jack.
Oh my god. 3-3 coming in for bio, only +3 attack for the Protoss player. The 4th base only finishing up now, whereas Kelazhur has been mining from his 4th base for quite some time. Kelazhur's up in army supply, he's up in worker supply as well. 3 Liberators at a time being produced. This is looking really good for our Brazilian Terran.
Yeah, this is going to be really, really hard to engage as this continues to go on. And Huck knows it. I think he's going to be looking to find some kind of exit avenue once he sees the Liberator count continuing to climb and climb and climb. Kelazhur, on the other hand, with these Liberators, is now able to defend with a lot less. And his choice is going to be once again to load up these 3 dropships, a move he's shown us he's very fond of on big maps like Dust Towers. He's willing to send a lot of units out. He's willing to commit a lot of army in risky maneuvers, and he's generally making it work, even if sometimes he takes a bad end of it.
Yeah, really good timing. A lot of forethought is necessary. He's going to unload here just to be safe. That's a lot of Marauders. They can focus down a Nexus quite quickly.
Yeah, and now all of these gateway units bouncing around
patience.
in the center of the map. Yeah.
Waiting until he knows where his opponent's army is, waiting until his opponent is out of position to move in, and even then he's like, no, not quite. I need a stronger commitment, and then he's going to move in. Really making the best use out of all of his... Oh, just barely in range of the Stalkers, a bit off on that. And it looks like he's pulled the trigger on that drop, and he's floated his main to the gold base as well. Fantastic, huge... Oh my god, if he can hold this, this is looking better and better for Kelazhur as time goes on here. He's going to move in over here, big warp in, but it looks like he's going to be able to focus down most of these units before they even get to do any damage. However, the main army of Huck is over here, and he is going to boost out. Fantastically done. Very few forces lost for Kelazhur. A lot of cost-effective engagements for him.
Yeah, I mean, what's going on right now is Kelazhur, with these drops, is forcing Huck to trade money for time, basically. He's able to preserve his economy, but he's bleeding out units basically for free. And then by the time the main army shows up, the army that can comfortably engage with what Kelazhur has, Kelazhur just goes home. He doesn't need to stay around. He's done the damage he needs to do, and it's not like Huck is rich.
Yeah, and at this point in time, I feel like he's got a strong advantage with the upgrade lead. He's maxed out. He really needs to do something with this army right now. The longer this goes on from this point, the better position Huck is going to be in, because he's going to allow time to be caught up on upgrades, to be caught up on army supply as well. Kelazhur needs to move.
Yeah, and if Kelazhur allows Huck to max, that could be a bit dangerous.
Oh, big move up in the top left. Looks like he's going to focus down this Nexus. Oh, big storms come down. Excellent defense here so far. But Marauders are pretty good at wrecking everything. Oh my god, they're so low hit points. Is he going to focus down the Nexus? No, it looks like he's focused on that army supply. Keeping it low will really help him in the engagements over here. Really, again, very cost-effective engagements, a lot of good focus firing, and that's going to allow him some more supply. He can go ahead and resupply very quickly, and he's going for his composition is shifting more and more toward a heavy Liberator composition.
Yeah, Liberators, of course, a unit that are basically impossible to engage in very high numbers without a unit like a Tempest that can kind of chip away at it from a distance. But Huck going to continue to rely on these storms, getting right underneath these medevacs, engaging the bio without the Liberator support is really good for him.
Oh, big storms over here. That was some really nice storms. And again, there aren't that many medevacs to heal, so we're going to see that the energy of these medevacs starting to get taxed, and more aren't being built because he's using his star parts solely for Liberators.
Yeah, Huck trying to get away with some adept run-bys, but not being able to match with this engagement here. Bio coming up the ramp. Storms do go down, going to force him back for a bit. But these Liberators are going to be able to continue to leapfrog forwards. Kelazhur has set him up for a slow siege. He is an Anaconda, and he's going to constrict Huck to death. He has a 70 supply lead.
Oh my god, these storms are absolutely brutalizing the army of Kelazhur.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen Kelazhur be a bit sloppy in terms of his actual engagements themselves. He chooses to take the correct fights, but he's not always dealing with the storms correctly.
Oh, big commitment here from Huck, but he's running out of anti-air, and these Adepts are fighting under Liberator fire. GG! Game 1, Root Kelazhur.
What a great way to start this series.
That was
Kelazhur
fantastic.
Has a long mountain to go, but he's taken the first step climbing it.
The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and the journey to win 2 best-of-5s in a row begins with a single game. And that was it. We're going to be moving into our next game nice and quick. It will be Laralac Crest.
Okay, well, Laralac Crest, we start on the super standard, the super basic, the this is your mom's macro map kind of thing. And now we're moving on to Laralac Crest, where there's a lot more interesting opportunities. You've got the 4-player, the opportunity to maybe hide some crazy stuff. Huck's shown today in PvT, he's willing to like build 4 proxy gates with a robo.
Yeah, Huck is one of those players who, in the very beginning of Wings of Liberty, was known for gateway aggression, was known for doing crazy stuff, and just being very, all over the place with it. He's got a large range of play to show. And Kelazhur is no different. Kelazhur is a player who will go ahead and proxy. He will go ahead and go for really aggressive Reaper play and do very well in the early game. It's pretty much anyone's setup right now. Talking about Laralac Crest, you have that big open natural, and you have the multiple directions to go into. So when you get into that adept play, it can be really powerful moving back and forth between all 3 bases, because that distance traveled by the Adept is really difficult to deal with as any kind of a player.
Yeah, but it looks like we're into our second map, Jack, so let's go ahead and introduce our players. In the top right-hand corner, playing for Team Root, we have our blue Terran, Kelazhur.
And his opponent spawning in the top left, coming from the winner's bracket. He's down 1 game. Will he close it out in his best of 5 or will be forced into a second? It's the Orange Protoss, EG's Huck.
I gotta think. You're Huck, right?
I'm not actually Huck, but I would love to be Huck. He's
hypothetically,
great at Protoss.
Yeah, terrific player, one of the best NA. But hypothetically,
Okay, right.
hypothetically, you're Huck.
Right.
You have that big macro game where you don't take a lot of damage early on, and you have to go toe-to-toe with Kelazhur, and he takes you.
Mm-hmm.
How does that affect your mindset going into the next game, man?
Well, if at first you don't macro succeed, macro even harder. Nexus first coming out of Huck here. It's a good map for it. It's a lower probability that it will be scouted quickly and that your opponent can take advantage of the fact that you've gone for a greedier build. And so far we see Kelazhur tossing down 2 gas relatively quickly. The first barracks is up. Oh! And it looks like he'll be able to get into the base and get a full scout off here. Oh no! He's not. He's going away.
This is not the first time this has happened. Like, Huck throughout this tournament has poked in with the probe just to do, and this is very old school, Wings of Liberty-esque, probe harass on that SCV building stuff, and then he leaves. It's not necessarily about the scout.
That's really interesting. He gets his... he must be doing the kind of a strategy... he must feel that he can deal with whatever range of what Kelazhur can do based on just that barracks.
Yeah, and I think maybe Kelazhur's been playing this style a lot, TVP, throughout the tournament, where he goes for a 1-base 1-1-1, and he stays 1-base. There's no transition. He at one point in a game he beat Huck and I believe floated his main CC to the natural, continued to play on 1-base, and eventually beat Huck. So maybe Huck feeling he's played a lot of games with Kelazhur, he knows this style, he sees the front, and he's got to read that I think I know what it's going to be.
Yeah, and Kelazhur is getting a good scout off here, does manage to scout first. Sees the double gate. This is something that's relatively common. You go for the Nexus first, and you follow it up with the fastest 2 Adepts that you can do after that first, because you need to really get back that map control, get some units on the field quickly, and the Adept is a great unit to allow you to do that.
Yeah, and I love what Kelazhur is doing here. Like, a lot of times you think 1-1-1, you see that quick reactor on the factory. Widowmine drops. That's pretty common in TVP. Kelazhur has made great use throughout this tournament of 2 Hellions. He gets him into the mineral line. A lot of times they've been as much for pulling people out of position as doing damage, but let's see what happens here as he gets in. The Adepts step up to greet them. They're going to get right into this probe line. At least a few probes should fall if microed correctly.
Very nice probe positioning there from Huck. Manages to help catch one of those, and then following the second right away. Those Hellions did almost nothing. Oh, man. We're talking about some weird stuff.
Huck is very comfortable building buildings wherever on the map. He's
not confined to normal rules of feng shui. He'll go ahead and be like, well, I want my base to be in your base, or I want my base to be in the middle of the map. He'll put his base anywhere he wants, and today he's decided to put part of his base in the bottom right-hand area.
Yeah, and now this Liberator of Root Kelazhur is going to be coming across the map. We're going to see if it can get any damage done, if Huck has any anti-air in position to greet it. It looks like just the Mothership Core will be the sole defense here. Probes are going to have to be pulled. Denying a lot of mining already is Kelazhur. Photon Overcharge at this point wouldn't be in range, so he's just kind of sitting there uncomfortably. He's looking for more damage.
Photon Overcharge. It's so close. He's not going to pull the trigger. A lot of patience here. Waits for the siege up. But I think, again, and this is really the mark of a very strong Liberator player. So many players will siege up their Liberators just barely in range of the pylons. But Kelazhur here, he's totally content to shut down these couple of mineral patches. He doesn't need to go all the way deeply in there and get tons of damage done. He's totally happy with what he's pulling off over here with the Liberator, keeping it safe, doing what he can, guaranteed damage.
Yeah, and Huck was forced basically to warp in those 2 Stalkers, that third one coming up now, and you can almost hear him groaning. He wants to be making a bunch of DTs right now, but he knows he needs a tool to deal with the Liberators. The Stalker's going to be the only thing, but even still there's no point where they can attack it. Huck needs to do damage. So much denied mining, so now it's time for these DTs to be walking across the map.
All right, and here we go. Cyclone is in place, but that doesn't see.
He sees it. He
DT's
sees it.
Nice scan.
Oh,
Very excellent. Oh my god, and he takes that pretty much right away. But in the meantime, we do have a DT in the natural starting to wail away. But not a whole lot of damage done by these DTs. This is a really big investment from Huck. It's not paying off.
no, that was absolutely brutal. Beautiful situational awareness by Kelazhur, being so on point, seeing the blur, raising that depot, scanning, making sure the DT didn't have an opportunity to do damage. The second one killed a couple of SCVs.
And look at the damage Liberator is doing.
Oh, God. Continuing
He
to
has
mine.
shut down that mining for so long. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah, and now Kelazhur is aware of exactly where this DT is. It's trapped. If it tries to step out, there will be another scan just as soon as the energy is available here. And we're only 3 away from a scan at this point. Huck looking to be in a bit of a rough position. We'll have to see if he has any tricks he can pull out to make something happen.
Yeah, well, taking a look at the economies, Huck has actually managed to be ahead as far as the worker count is concerned. They're both on 2 bases. That's an advantage for him. He has invested a lot into this DT tech. It hasn't got damage done. But he's managed to keep his macro up well enough so that he is staying in stride, in striking distance of Kelazhur, despite the fact of this mostly failed tech rush.
Yeah, and now this drop going to come out. Stalker's in a good position here to kind of poke, see what's coming down the map. Going to take out these 2 Marines. There is a Cyclone, though, so I think they need to be careful, both sides, before to disengage if that happens. Is that a fake drop, or was that just a micro mistake, do you think?
Could have been a scout, to be honest. I think he was just wanting to take a look at that third base. Fake drop would have been pretty wild. I think he would have committed a little bit more if that was the case. This DT, oh, man, love that. Getting the value and breaking the vision, breaking the lock-on.
Yeah, and now it looks like Huck feeling comfortable enough to start taking his own third a little bit ahead of Kelazhur, but Kelazhur is gassing up perhaps to go for a bit of a drop. No, it looks like instead he's going to sit back.
Yeah, getting into position over here. He's considering taking that third base.
Oh, I love what Huck's doing, going in, chipping away at 1 or 2 workers, and then just backing out. And, you know, Kelazhur can drop a scan, but as long as, like, Huck micros, he's been shift-clicking the path, so he walks right outside of the tank range the whole time, and he can't really do anything.
He's even going to delay this expansion. This puts him even more ahead. His expansion was already ahead of the Terran players, and now it's even more so. Oh, look at that. Blinks out of there. Damage done. No damage taken. It's fantastic. And we've seen that throughout the entire day. Huck doing this non-committal aggression, moving in, taking the guaranteed damage, backing off, not overextending.
Yeah, and now here comes a big drop from Kelazhur. He's feeling he needs to put some damage on, and this is going to be a chance for him to do it. Huck has nothing in position to greet these. 1 pylon will fall, actually supply blocking Huck as this aggression continues, and now Kelazhur's going to boost straight into the main.
Very nice. I thought he was going to run right over onto that mothership core and target it down, but ends up going ahead and warping in a single location. He's got a pretty nice position here, but he's going to move out. And oh, very nice, Huck. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, better just not fool me again, said George W. Bush. And in the immortal words, we follow him into the darkness.
Yeah, using these sentries to poke at the medevacs is very, very cute by Huck. They're probably not going to kill him on their own, but they're going to force Kelazhur to maybe make some very uncomfortable decisions, force him to back out, and now the Blink Stalker is in position on either end. These medevacs are dead. Kelazhur is trying to find a way, but I don't think there's a light in the dark here, Jack.
No, definitely not.
Oh,
he's going to be stuck here.
If it wasn't hold, if it wasn't hold position, he was trying to get it to push with the auto micro. That's so damn cute. These 2 players, man.
Yep. Not
man.
Idra.
Jack, so for people that maybe are new to StarCraft, maybe picked it up with the release of Legacy of the Void, or perhaps Heart of the Swarm, did you want to take us into the story of not
let's
Idra?
do that. We got a second to do that. So there was a game of Huck versus Idra, and long ago, Huck was down and out, but he hallucinated a bunch of Void Rays against Idra's composition. Idra was a Zerg player, and Idra was about to beat him, and then GG'd because he saw the hallucinated Void Rays, and in the next game, Huck was like, you know those were mostly Haluk Voids.
Oh, man. You weren't lost.
Yeah, you weren't lost. You remember that. Exactly. That was well done.
Oh, man.
I knew it was misspelled a little bit, but
But now it looks like Huck posturing to maybe knock down these rocks.
Nice Widowmine drop as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait. I don't think he built a cannon.
No cannon. Well, it looks like these rocks are going to fall. Kelazhur's going to be in position to deal with this. And on the other side of the map, no, there is no cannon.
Oh!
There's no detection. So this means Huck is in a position
Those are gonna go
where
off
he
again.
wants to put some damage in, man.
Oh, really nicely done. 8 workers killed, and all because he attempted to build the cannon where the Widowmine was, and it blocked it. That was fantastic.
All right, well, Huck, feeling the pressure, feeling that he's taking some damage from those Widowmines, is going to move up into the natural, try to get some damage done. Going to shade the Adepts into the main. A nice job of
Oh, I think he got
forcing-
one in there. I think he just got one in there before the door closed. Very nice.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where if just one slips by, he might not be expecting it, maybe not ready to split off some of his production to deal with it. It looks like the Adept will get a kill in before it gets taken out. Maybe just taxing the multitasking of Kelazhur. Huck is posturing so aggressively right now, man, and I'm loving that he's looking for damage on every angle. A single slip-up from Kelazhur at this point in the game could be absolutely deadly, and it looks like Huck thinks he's found that chink in the armor with all of these Adepts getting right into the mineral line, trying to get some damage done. He's forcing Kelazhur to evacuate, denying that mineral time. And now Huck feels he's done what he needed to do at this stage in the game, and he's going to back off.
Yeah, he's looking really nice right now. Upgrade advantage to Kelazhur once this +2 is finished up. And they are sort of following each other 1 for 1 here. Liberator on the way. We're probably going to see more of that really heavy Liberator play from Kelazhur. It really worked out for him well last time, especially with the Widowmines. The Widowmines dealing with the Adepts in such a powerful way if you can get them down at the right time and the right way.
Yeah, and now, once again, man, we can.
Oh, he totally misses this.
Oh, God. Continuing to step out onto the map. I love the Dark Templar just kind of chilling at the ramp. And Huck knocking down his own rocks.
Yeah. Make that shorter rush distance happen, and he's going to go ahead and take a 4th base as well. He's managed to stay ahead for most of this game in terms of bases, and he keeps pushing this advantage. But will he be able to close it out? That's a Archon Factory on the way.
Archon Factory.
Yeah, that is what it's for.
Yeah.
Stormification Station, I believe it's also called.
Oh, man. So there are cannons now in position. Huck has decided he's had enough of these Liberators in the sky over his mineral lines. Going to blink in some Stalkers. Deal with that quite quickly. I like that Huck is just not tunnel visioning on any one thing. He's adapting his composition, his defenses, to really deal with all of the different multi-point aggression that Kelazhur is trying to throw at him. And Huck is centered on a very mobile army, a lot of blink Stalkers.
Yeah, absolutely. Very adept adaptations here coming out of Huck. Fantastic moves going forward over here. And we're looking towards a large engagement. Only half the army of Huck is available, but it is very intentionally that blink Stalker force, allowing him to recollect his total forces. But this is a kind of nice spot for, really great Kelazhur in this position. And, oh my god, setting up these Liberators in the position is going to make so difficult to engage. And nice moves over here. We do have a couple of attacking units coming into the choke.
But Huck's army's gone. There's so little left here. A very Marauder-heavy army going to engage with the Stalker-heavy composition. This should do quite well for Kelazhur while the Liberators rain Hellfire down from above. Dark Templars are the unit that Huck thinks are going to make a difference here, and it looks like they've managed to do a good bit of damage, but he doesn't have what it takes to clean up this army. A handful of Marauders.
Oh my God, what is going on here? He's coming through with his forces. It looks like a Warpin is going to help quite a bit in finishing that off, but look at the army supply, 60 or so to 16. That is not a happy day for Mr. Protoss.
Yeah, I mean, Huck still is basically on even economy with Kelazhur, so if he has time, if he gets those mobile units that can buy him time, that can keep Kelazhur at home, if he can continue to macro up. Like
well, the other thing, too, is Kelazhur has been on 3 base for a while. He really needs to get a 4th. It's almost 15 minutes into the game. We're running out of mineral patches for Kelazhur.
Yeah, it looks like his main N is completely
look at
mined
this.
out. His natural
Taking the
nearly
aggressive base. I love this.
Yeah, it could be hard to hold, but Kelazhur feels confident. Now these Marauders going to bounce around. I love the Widowmine spread here. It allows him a lot of freedom to bounce back and forth to deal with any angles that Huck
Scan of the
could
Observer
engage.
as well was huge. Very nicely done. Scanning going ahead, moving into this position, and you can see Huck scared on the top of that ramp. He's going to have to sacrifice this base, and that's going to put Kelazhur into the economic lead moving forward. Also, God, 19, 20 workers killed as well. But is this a bit of an overextension as he's moving over into the high ground? It's kind of difficult to say. These Immortals dealing a lot of damage.
Yeah, and now the Widowmine's continuing to fire. Huck doing his best to trigger him with a single unit at a time, but Kelazhur's army is continuing to scale and climb higher. And Liberators are a unit that in the late game, man, especially when you have scrappy armies like Huck, it's so hard for him to engage the very high Liberator count that Kelazhur is building up towards.
Absolutely, and this is just going to be a really difficult comeback situation for Huck. He's behind in, well, pretty much every conceivable way that one can be behind. Tech, economy, and army. And the Liberator count is just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And Kelazhur is looking really nice, looking closer and closer to that, forcing that second best of 5.
Giving away 3 Liberators, though, that's a really nice pickup for Huck here. But what's going to happen? How can he fight the bio? Like cleaning up the air is a really good start for Huck, but man, you can't engage a Marauder-heavy composition like this with Stalkers.
Yeah, and Kelazhur's being really good about scanning as well, focusing down the Marauders. He's doing the best. Oh my, what are these Stalkers doing on the left side, not engaging in the fight? It's like, oh, Depths, you go deal with this. And like, oh wait, we can't actually do that. GG! Well played. Kelazhur takes 2 quick games off of Huck.
Yeah, if
We
Kelazhur
could have a fast 3-0 here for the first best of 5.
Yeah, so guys, I want to walk you through what will happen if Kelazhur wins the next map. It will reset. We will run vetoes again. We could see the same maps being played again. We could see different maps being played again. Obviously, it comes down to player preference, but the first best of 5 does not materially affect the second best of 5 in any way.
That's right. It's completely separate. It's just the fact that Huck has not lost a match yet, so he's allowed to lose one, and this might be that one. But let's keep in mind, Huck is no stranger to this kind of situation, to this kind of pressure. He can win 3 games in a row right now, or he can reset it and win 3 games later. Either way, he's only 3 games away from $1,000.
Yeah, and I want to take us back to the first Cheesadelphia tournament, Jack. You and me were on a different stage casting the grand finals together. It was No Regret versus Bales, and No Regret, it was either a 3-0 or 3-1, but demolished Bales in the first set. Bales was able to collect himself, take his breath, be the more experienced player that he was, and come back. When you have this extra life as Huck, and you're the more experienced player, it's such an advantage. You can take a moment to cool off if something goes down, get some water, breathe, think about things. And that's a luxury that Kelazhur doesn't have. No,
but Kelazhur is going to have all the pressure on him for the entirety of both of these potential series, or maybe even just for the first one. We are going to be moving on to Orbital Shipyard as our 3rd map.
Yeah, and now it looks like we're spawning into Orbital Shipyards. And in the top right-hand corner, playing for Team Root, he's up 2-0. Can he close out this first best of 5? It is Root Kelazhur.
And his opponent spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. It's the red Protoss. He's Town 02. Can he bring it back? It's EG's Huck.
So Orbital Shipyards, Huck Kelazhur. I think I have to give this map to Kelazhur a little bit. Looking at it, we've seen on the big macro stages, if Huck isn't able to create chaos, Kelazhur shines like a diamond, man.
Shine bright like a diamond, he doth. And we are going to see him moving into his usual Reaper expand, probably. We're taking a look. 1 gas so far, so not a quick 1-1-1 like we had last time around. This map lends itself, like you were saying, a little bit more toward macro than Laralac Crest.
Yeah, it's a big map. You can kind of get your 3rd a little easier. There's not a bunch of weird attack angles to come in from. There's not rocks you have to worry about keeping an eye on. It's just kind of like players can play comfortable if that's how they like to play. And
I think, too, that this map has a lot of really good position for siege tanks and liberators as well. Different choke points, positions you can get into. And we are having that first Reaper coming out for Kelazhur. We're going to be able to scout everything that's going on here.
Yeah, and something that we've talked a lot about in this tournament is Kelazhur has some of the best Reaper control out there right now, man. I mean, Kelazhur is a guy that favors making sometimes 2 or 3 Reapers, even in matchups where it's not always in the meta. And we're going to see if he makes more than 1, or if he just has the 1 for scouting, to poke, to tax Huck's multitasking, see if he can perhaps force a mistake as he goes and adds on his 2nd command center.
Yeah, and he's moving into a 2nd barracks here, yeah. And a reactor. This is interesting.
Perhaps talking to EJK a little bit. EJK, a guy that started making two barracks marine. That was
two barracks marine before expand. This is a little bit more
Yeah.
common, and he's going to throw in a bunker as well into the mix.
Yeah, this is a bit.
Oh, the
interesting.
pylon. He's blocking the pylon rush here on the low ground.
Oh,
that can be so frustrating to deal with.
Yeah, and I think that says a lot to Kelazhur. The bunker, of course, it's an investment, but it's one of the few investments in StarCraft 2 that you can actually get utility of from, and then get something back when you decide you no longer need it. So I think for Kelazhur, building that bunker says, I'm comfortable. Let's go to the long, baby. Let's tango. I can dance with you.
Yeah, you know. If I were wise in the ways of the world right now, I would make some kind of a reference to a cultural Brazilian dance. But I don't know any of them, so tango it is. Tango it will be. It takes two to tango, and other colloquial phrases as well. Moving into Blink here. This is a strong map for Reapers. This is also a strong map for Blink. Always going to be the case. Can really mess with your opponent in that way. The barracks will be in a, the bunker will be in a nice position to start helping getting into that position to deal with the Blink.
Yeah, but it looks like Huck being caught a little bit out of position here. The Reaper trying to get some damage done. Only one adept to deal with it. The bomb goes off. Getting a probe is really nice. The Reaper's not really supposed to do that at this stage in the game. There's a second damage one. Let's see if Kelazhur's able to pick it up. No, the adept shade being right on top of it. One more disc is going to be enough to kill that Reaper. Huck does clean it up.
Very nicely done here. You can see our lovely workers kill graph. It's 1-0. First blood has been drawn.
Oh, man, yeah. Reaper was killed by a Tron disc, of course. That's
Ugh.
basically what the
That's
adepts
the worst. That's one of the worst ways to be killed by a Tron disc. It's you might think, oh, it's fast and easy and you just explode. No. It warps time and space, so you experience it very slowly. That's the essence of what a adept disc death is. But we do have supply depots coming down, and the lovely, lovely observer moving its way across the map to get a little bit of scouting information here for Huck. Huck has been really on top of his observer control for the majority of it, but equally as well, Kelazhur has been scanning the crap out of observers.
Yeah, man, I mean, I think if there's one lesson you can take away from this series, if you're a guy that has to play Kelazhur in a tournament, don't rely on stealth. Huck kept trying to use the DTs, and it's not like they were attacking and then Kelazhur was noticing and getting scanned. Kelazhur
Ooh, that observer just missed this drop.
Oh, that's going to be very hard for Huck to be able to anticipate it. He's going to have to rely on his game sense at this point.
Yeah, he's going to have to come over here and say, oh, you know, there should be a Stargate unit out, Starport unit out, and there's not. What's the deal with that? Probably some sort of a drop situation. He does have some scouting over on the left side of the map, an observer on patrol, ready to scout this. As far as units in the base, though, let's take a look. Let's see what he has to defend this. This will get scouted, and the reaction time will have to be fast here. Huck is going to... Oh, yeah, he's totally ready for this. Blink is already done. He's going to move in. Oh, just barely. A little bit early as far as getting the kill is concerned, but dealing a lot of damage to that medevac and forcing it away with absolutely no damage done at all to Huck. Great defense.
And now it looks like Huck being forced, or Kelazhur rather, being forced to back off once again as Huck steps out onto the map. He's anticipating the medevac movement, and very, very clutch by Huck. Able to get it, but it doesn't quite look like... That was so cute by Kelazhur. Kelazhur's been, I think, more than anyone else in this tournament, just on top of all of his units, never letting something go to waste, never losing a unit unnecessarily. Unloading those middle mines was so clutch.
Absolutely, and nice micro there, by the way, from Huck with the Blink dodging the Widow Mine. And finally going to be able to kill it off. Whoa! 4 medevacs. One doesn't have anything in it, but healing is nice.
Yeah, man, I mean, healing can keep that bio alive basically forever. And,
oh, my God. This is 2 ships passing in the middle of the day. Like, whoa, whoops, I was going to try to sneak attack you there. But very nicely going to run away, take barely any hull damage there.
Yeah, I mean, keeping that alive and knowing that the drop is coming is really nice, but Huck, I think, needs to be careful with these Stalkers. Doesn't want to get caught by the bio. Blink allows him to pull back, which is absolutely terrific for our Protoss player, but Kelazhur is continuing to stream units across the map. He's getting ready to take the aggression and just crank it up.
Absolutely. upgrade advantage as well to our Protoss player. Very nice to see.
Yeah.
He's got the economic lead as well. This attack moving in. Really got to get something done. Very aggressive Widowmine placement is going to... Oh, nicely done. Gets a Widowmine shot off on the Immortal just after the barrier finish. Very fortuitous for him, but I don't think it's going to be quite enough. Where's the Observer?
Yeah, and it looks like
all the way coming back, taking quite a while.
Huck has a lot of stuff. I want him to take care of this Widowmine if he wants to be able to take a good fight, to have freedom to position his units. It's almost reloaded, but it should be done in time. Kelazhur are going to go home.
Third base.
Yeah, throwing that third down, floating it over.
Taking quite a while for Kelazhur. He's pretty behind as far as the economics of the situation go, and we're going to start to see that being reflected in supply. Huck already with a pretty sizable supply lead, with that economic lead going to grow. And very similar to last game, though, Huck had the lead for a lot of it. He was doing really good. He was a base ahead, and then somehow he was going to, make it happen.
All right, but now Huck stepping across the map, streaming units right up into Kelazhur's base. A bunch of Adepts coming up here. Are they able to deal with it? Let's take a look.
Is he going to let
it finish? Yeah, he's going to let it finish, pinning Kelazhur. There's nowhere to run, though. SCV's coming off the line. Force Field's doing a terrific job of boxing all of these SCVs in.
The Liberators coming in. They can't be too aggressive, getting into position here. Big blinks coming in from this angle. Very nicely done. One Liberator left over. It does get taken down, and everything is dying. Huck takes it back. Now it's a 2-1. Not so fast, Kelazhur. Not so fast, not so easy.
Yeah, man, there is a king of NA, and that king is Huck, or king of America, rather. We're going to have to see if...
I mean, this is like really the king of NA versus the king of SA, South America.
Which is cool because, generally speaking, let's say a year ago I said, hey, Jack, would you like to watch a show match between the best player in North America and the best player in South America? You probably would have said no, thank you.
Yeah.
Because, I guess...
there weren't very many players in South America.
Yeah, I mean, Major is in Latin America, but actually South America?
Yeah,
like, there wasn't really anyone
South
until Kelazhur was able to come up. Like, the next best players are Cam and guys that are good, but they're not at Kelazhur's level. And Kelazhur is...
Yeah, definitely not at Huck's level.
Definitely not at Huck's level. Yeah. No, absolutely not. So it's cool to see Kelazhur breaking out, going to that root house.
Breaking out, I like that. There was a good turn of phrase there from the Ravi's show. Breaking out and the Breakout Invitational. Really great stuff. A lot of North American talent. Make sure you go and check that out. Google the crap out of StarCraft 2. Breaking out. Going to be some cool stuff coming up from that as well. But yeah. I think Huck
it looked like Huck ran maybe to the bathroom, something like that. Players are allowed after 2 games are played.
And we don't chain them to their desk.
Take a quick break
for more than 2 games in a row or 3 games in a row. We unlock them, say, okay, if you have to leave, leave. We're setting bail. If you try to flee the country, we will come after you.
Yeah, and I mean, realistically, Huck, a dual citizen, he can make good on the threat to go to Canada if he so chooses.
That's a good point. No, it would be relatively reasonable for him as well. It's looking like the next map is going to be Central Protocol.
So, Jack, I want to talk about this for a minute. I've talked to Huck.
Okay.
And he says there's a build that this is just... At first, Fear Dragon and I thought that was how he plays against Ruff, because Ruff, of course, is a very weird player.
Right.
Huck built 3 proxy gateways and a robo with another gateway at home. And I talked to Huck about it, and Huck said, no, that's how I play PvT on this map. But he's already done this against Kelazhur. So it's going to be a really interesting mind game. This is how Huck likes to play. This is what he's comfortable with. We've seen him go for it a lot.
Strong, powerful,
what he thinks is good. But Kelazhur knows this, and Huck said it on camera. So if Kelazhur was paying attention, he may know that this is the primary...
But does Huck know that Kelazhur, if was or not paying attention at the time, mind games?
Yeah, man, I mean, this is really mind games taken to that highest level here, pushing it so damn hard, man. And we're going to see, I think, in a mind game, pure mind games, Huck wins every time.
Well, that's statistically unlikely, but I'm just going to go ahead and agree with you. I've never seen him lose a mind game yet. Spawning here in the bottom right-hand corner of our screen. He's only 1 game away from winning the first of 2 best-of-5s he needs to do to win $1,000 and the trophy of the Cheesadelphia numero 2. It is the Blue Terran, Kelazhur.
And his opponent in the top left-hand corner, he's here in his orange cloak. Playing for Team Evil Geniuses, it is Huck. Now, Huck is 2 maps away from claiming $1,000. And claiming our beautiful trophy from becoming the 2nd champion of Cheesadelphia.
And the 2nd Protoss champion of Cheesadelphia. If we look at the statistics, 100% of Cheesadelphia's have been won by Protoss players. So, Protoss Imba?
Yeah, man. I mean, low sample sizes are great for making stuff up and having it technically be true.
It's an important thing about logic to understand that the smaller the sample size, the more useful it is in seeking out and locating, identifying truth.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know that, guys, you may need to go back. But Huck, sending his probe out, looking for...
He's not going to that proxy location in between the 2 bases. He's going to scout location over here. I'll probably turn around. Yeah, look at this. And I love his corner cut over here. If you're a new player, you don't always have to go all the way in. If your opponent is competent, they will generally build their buildings in a choke to dissuade any sort of adept play. And he is going to scout it out. It looks like the mind game has gone into the non-proxy area. A little bit sad. I love proxies. One of my favorite things in the world.
Well, Jack, we could have a 2nd Central Protocol, so I don't want you to get too blue
that's a good
yet.
point. Wow.
And now it looks like Huck just going to come home with this probe. He's got all the information that he feels he wants. And, I wonder what his next move is. I don't think Huck, based on the conversations I had with him, I don't think Huck is super comfortable in PvT on Central Protocol. And this is his elimination match for this first best of 5. I don't think Huck wants this game to go to the next series. I think he wants to try to close it out here and now.
Let's take a look. He's got the Cybernetics core finishing up, a couple hundred gas in the bank. He's going to go ahead and delay that Mothership core. It's something that we've seen more and more since the Mothership core nerf, players relying on other things, other gas expenditures to defend themselves. And Adept and Twilight Council coming through. It's basically what he's pretty comfortable with. He's been doing this in general almost every time.
Yeah, and man, I love seeing the Reaper control to Kelazhur. I'm going to go so far as to say it's a treat to watch.
Yeah.
He, outside of Korea, I don't think anyone is significantly better than him at controlling these small packs of tight units. He's up there with the Marine Lords in this specific aspect
Absolutely.
of play. And he's going to come back in once again, knowing exactly how long it takes for that regen to go. And he's going to try to get some more probes, man. This Reaper is doing more than it should.
Oh, did you see that? The animation started for the attack, and it just barely didn't get to go off there. That is one lucky son of a Reaper, because all Reapers, of course, are sons of other Reapers. It's a symbiotic mitosis, I think it is.
Yeah, I read you loud and clear.
Split themselves off, yeah.
Read you loud and clear on that one, but Huck's tech choice for this map going to be Blink, adding on a quick robo here. This is cross-spawn, so I guess you can play it out a bit more standard. The bases are just so far apart, but the robo can allow him some additional mobility. The Blink allows a lot of mobility, and I think it makes sense for him to choose a composition that allow him to try to be everywhere, because if there's one thing Kelazhur likes to do, it's be everywhere, and Huck's going to need the tools to respond to that. This Reaper sweeping in once again. Is it going to get anything else done? No, the Mothership core should push it away. Yeah,
Kelazhur, as a Kela god, it's very easy for him to be omnipresent, for him to be everywhere. And, it's one of those disadvantages when you're going up against a god. It's just, I'm a mere mortal. I guess I can multitask as best I can, but I'm not a god. And Kela god has been flexing his omnipresent muscles all throughout the day here. But has he overflexed them? Does he need to? Is he going to crash here? Is he going to be able to bring it through? Raven on the way.
Whoa. Maybe he doesn't want to keep scanning stealth stuff, or maybe he's got some very specific aggression in mind here.
Coming in.
This is going to be.
Get some sentries here.
Nice
reaction.
Okay, so Huck managed to clean up one of those Widow Mines. The second one only took out one probe.
Excellent defense.
Great on point. It's crazy how good Huck's been throughout the series, win or lose each map, at shutting down these small bits of harassment, and then doing the appropriate follow-up, not forgetting about it, throwing that cannon down that's going to clean the Widow Mine up, and just being really on top of this kind of stuff.
Nice warp in over here, going to get completely scouted. And aw, the medevac and the warp prism kiss. That was adorable.
Man, it's funny when you can see a player's muscle memory kick in. Like, Kelazhur clearly took that medevac, boosted it, clicked on the warp prism, probably hit D2, started trying to drop his units underneath, and he's like, oh, there's nothing in this. And warp prisms do not have guns. Not yet anyways. But yeah.
And we do have the war machine beginning to get going for Kelazhur. He's got his stim, combat shields, +1, all on the way, ready to go here.
Yep, but Huck moving out with just a couple of units, going to be poking around, looking for damage. Oh, I like this. He's going to have an opportunity to poke at the front with these Stalkers and then maybe try to get the Warp Prism into Kelazhur's base. At the same time, Kelazhur loads up a drop, escorts it with a Viking. Very cute there. And both of these guys just continuing to parry, to dance, to try to score some hits on each other, try to find that moment where they're out of position, where you're able to get those big damages in to shave down the worker count. Oh, man, taking out that that single Marine, walking down and finding a couple of Stalkers is not a good day for that guy.
Yeah, and this is the risky thing to do, right? Huck is going for the third base here, so he's the defender in this scenario. Obviously, he's still going to be aggressive because he's Huck, right? But the concept here is that Huck has got the better late game. If he can hold on long enough, he's going to be in a really great spot. Only now is Kelazhur just starting his CC, and it's not even being built in position. So with this move out, maybe he'll be able to get something done. Looks like a quick deflection, and that's more time that Huck has to get ahead.
Yeah, and Huck continuing to start pumping out Immortals, and that's a unit that he's really favored going up against Kelazhur, who's made a lot of Marauders. The Immortal, of course, engages better with the Marauder than perhaps the Stalkers, other units that Huck likes to favor. And yeah, it's kind of cool what Kelazhur does by dropping him with Marauders. He forces Huck to make some
beautiful
Immortals.
siege tank position by Kelazhur here.
Oh,
Gonna
picking
toss
off
down an auto carrot just in case. Get out of here! Just kicking them in the butt on the way out the door, you know?
Yeah, and I wonder what the idea behind that Raven is. Is it a detector? Is it a spellcaster? If Kelazhur wins, I know for sure I'm going to ask him. But doing its job a little bit, throwing that turret down. And now Kelazhur gearing up to take his third. Kelazhur has taken very late expansions in this series.
Yeah, he's been behind in expansions against the Pros for the most part. Moving it over here. Nice feedbacks. Doesn't get any kills, though. Kelazhur microing this pretty well. Hasn't spent too much time in that photon overcharge range at all. And actually, he might be able to get the Mothership Core here. Ooh, very nicely done. Gets the Mothership Core. This pylon overcharge about to go down, but I think he's got to assume at this point that Huck's forces are almost ready to defend.
Yeah, here comes the Adept. Kelazhur looks like,
Viking.
okay, no AA available for Huck, so Kelazhur's able to get away even though he may have overstayed his welcome just a little bit. Here comes another run by. Yeah, coming in. The cannon is ready. He can't really fight it head on with the other units in support. Kelazhur going to have to pull away once again.
Really great defense here from Huck all around. Very, very nicely done. Ooh, lose that Warp Prism.
Yeah, catching the Warp Prism is really nice for Huck. This is a lot of units, though, trying to force Kelazhur away, and it looks like every time Huck moves to defend to parry, Kelazhur tries to find another angle to attack in from. He's going to just walk up the natural ramp. Why not? He knows exactly where Huck's army is, and there's nothing here. What a big engagement opportunity for Kelazhur to try to do some damage. At the same time, continuing to tax Huck's multitasking, poking into the army down at his southern base.
Look at all this damage, and that's another dead Mothership Core.
Yeah,
that's getting expensive.
These Stalkers, if there's no Storm support, are all going to fall. There's no way they can fight this Marauder-heavy army. The High Templar falls too.
Oh, wow, this is a totally naked mineral line here. He's going to warp something in, but it's a slow warp in. Oh, my God.
Yeah, Huck may be starting to fall apart a little bit here to the multitasking of Kelazhur, who's just continuing to be everywhere. He pokes, he prods, and he stabs, and it seems to never, ever end. Huck wants a second to breathe, and Kelazhur is just not going to give it to him today.
Yeah, not at all. Moving forward over here, he does have a siege tank mixed up in the composition. Very interesting. Storm going down. The siege tank beginning to shell out damage. Very scary. Beginning to get focused up. Nice tank evac micro over there. Pulling it back, keeping it safe. Focusing down now. The Immortals. Oh, just barely taking out that tank in time, but there's a lot of bio here to deal with. A couple little mines at the front as well.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that Kelazhur now is attacking on a single front, which is a bit different from most of what he's done throughout this series. But he's forced Huck down below 100 supply.
Oh, that's it. Kelazhur wins the first best of 5.
Do we have some Kelazhur fans
I think
down
we've
in the
got
audience?
a couple of them. Don't know if you guys can hear them, but we certainly can.
Yeah, what an awesome audience. We're going to be going into our final best of 5 series. I'm going to see if anyone needs a break. It looks like they're starting up their vetoes right away. And it looks like we're getting ready to go, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, of course, for tuning in with us, for making it to the end. It's been a long, beautiful, wonderful day of StarCraft here in Philadelphia, and we're so glad that you've chosen to be here with us all the way to the end and find out who is ultimately the victor. And it's all going to come down to one best of 5.
Yeah, and I want to take some time, guys, while waiting for these vetoes, to just thank everyone that needs to be thanked, because so many people come together to help make this happen. First off, Jarvis Innovations. They're our primary sponsor. They help make everything you see here possible. They put up the prize pool. They help us make this happen. Our second sponsor, I don't know if you know him, but Wisecracks.
I do know
He is a
Wisecracks.
second sponsor of this event, guys. You can find him at Twitter at Wisecracks, and that's Wisecracks with an X.
That's right.
Instead of a K. He lives around here. He loves the Philly scene. He wanted to help support the event, make it profitable, make it something that we could continue to run. And
also, he's hilarious. If you ever get to hang out with him, he's just like one of the funniest dudes ever. He made life laugh through a translated joke at a poker table after BlizzCon. It was awesome.
Yeah, I love going out. I mean, I'm lucky enough where I get to hang out with him like outside of events.
Yeah.
Like we'll meet up for a drink. He's a funny dude. If you're ever at an event, come find him, say hi. He's the kind of guy where we'd be like, "Hey, I know you. You're like really cool," and like he'll like bug out just being happy to meet you. He's a cool dude. It's so great to have someone like that around here helping to support the scene. I also want to thank Rob, once again, our production guy, doing a kick-ass job, just really running things. Jeremy has been observing dutifully all day. Our observer, Jeremy, a wonderful guy. He was really like, we didn't have an independent observer last time, and I was worried about it production-wise, and Jeremy sold me on the idea, and man, I couldn't have been more wrong. Having an observer was great. It allows
changes the whole thing. It's so much better to have a dedicated observer. We're really bringing it up to that next level. And those of you out there who are familiar with tournaments, like, of course you have a dedicated observer. But for those of us in the beginning stages of developing things, it's pretty amazing to feel that difference of in October doing Cheesadelphia 1 with the observing and now having the dedicated observer is just a world of difference. Thank you so much to Jeremy for stepping up to the plate and getting that done for us. It's been really great.
Yeah, and it looks like we're getting ready to get into our second best of 5 here. Huck has no extra life. There's no cushion left.
That's right.
And let's go ahead and introduce our players in the bottom left-hand corner. Playing for Team Root. He managed to take one best of 5. Can he take a second and close it out? It's Kelazhur.
And his opponent spawning in the top right-hand corner of Dusk Towers. It's the Orange Protoss, Huck.
Man, I was not expecting this to go to the second series, to be honest. I was talking to Diego, and he said he's really tired. His sleep schedule was super messed up from Katowice.
Yep.
Huck was like, oh, no, this is light.
Oh, really? Oh, really,
man.
Kelazhur? Are you sure you want to do that right now?
Kelazhur is sure.
Yeah.
He did this against Huck once already in the first series that they played, and Huck dealt with it handily. He made it look like a really poor decision. So I respect that Kelazhur has kind of the constitution to say, just because you dealt with this once early on, when you're fresh, when you're feeling at your best, when you haven't played that many games, doesn't mean you can deal with it now. When you're a little tired, you're worn down, you're more likely to make mistakes. And I think I can execute better than you can defend.
Absolutely. And Scout moving across the map right now does not see this first barracks. Very important. Now, most players won't be able to do this, but a player like Huck, rolling up in here, taking a look at the timing of everything, when the barracks is going down, where the barracks is going down, he's going to get suspicious immediately.
Yeah, and this Reaper going to be on the way very quickly here. We're going to have to see how committed. I mean, you can kind of engage this build in varying levels of commitment if you're Kelazhur. Of course, the one Reaper is going to be made. It's going to try to get there before Huck's expecting it, get some damage in. And I'm curious if Huck has had a read yet. I'm not not seeing anything except maybe that Adept to indicate that Huck knows what's coming.
Oh, Reaper first. He's following up with a Marine.
That Marine, it's not being made at the proxy location.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yep. The command center is being floated back. Kelazhur not going to super commit, and I think this was a cool thing to do. The Reaper just gets there a little bit early, has the opportunity to do the damage. It's not necessarily going to, because Huck has such good probe control in a way that, like, we don't usually talk about players' probe control, but time and time again, we've seen Huck catch Reapers with probes, force Reapers away with probes, deal with Widow Mines with probes, and I think it's really cool to take a resource gathering unit and show that it has other utility like that.
Yeah, it's a very high APM kind of micro. You have to pull back the workers. You attack with the force of workers, and you have to pull back the weakened ones so quickly, because it's just 3 hits of the Reaper before they're dead. And once you start pulling back, the Reaper probably get at least 1 more shot. So as soon as that first shot lands, you have to pull back right away. When it retargets, you have to pull back right away. It takes a lot of APM, a lot of actions per minute to be able to pull that off. And left the door open.
Yeah, and Huck was actually able to clean up that Reaper in the middle of the map, which makes its Adept so much more dangerous. It can juke the Marines far better than it can juke a Reaper, for example, in defensive positions. He's going to shade up into the main here. SCV coming down the line. He's forced it to stop building for at least the moment. Going to allow this shade to complete, get straight into that mineral line and start getting some damage done, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. And 2 workers killed already. I think it's really great that Huck is getting a full scout off here as well. He's even going to delay the expansion, maybe. Yeah. God. He delays the expansion. Very nice. Gets 5 worker kills.
Yeah, this is starting to snowball.
And Adept.
This is not over. He's continuing to juke around. The Marines aren't in a high enough count where Kelazhur can properly split, and Huck can take some shield damage, phase out, and I think he has enough health to do this at least once more. He's going to allow this phase to come. Oh,
just barely cleans it up, but a great start for Huck here.
Yeah, and I think as far as games in this series have gone, this is probably looking the best from the get-go for Huck.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know, though. I think Huck has been ahead in a lot of these scenarios and has ended up falling behind to Diego, to Kelazhur, regardless of the fact that his expansions were up earlier, his worker counts were up earlier. You know, upgrades be damned. Somehow, Kelazhur manages to pull it off. So, I'm interested to see if he'll be able to close out this first game here.
There's one thing I want to point out, though. Like Huck's talked about, he's a guy that likes the chaos. He likes the aggression.
Yep.
In most of the other games, Huck was ahead because he defended aggression, right? He was ahead because he dealt with Kelazhur's aggression really well. In this game, he got himself ahead by executing his own aggression well, and I think for a player like Huck, that makes a big mental difference going into the next stages of the game. He feels like he can maybe be free to apply more pressure to Kelazhur, continue to pile that stuff on, and adding on that Warp Prism, going to allow him the tools to continue to do what he needs to do, get in those the Adept upgrade.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll be moving across the map with a Widow Mine. Single Widow. I love this. Just one Widow Mine. It's not too committal, but it has the potential to do a lot. And at the right time, it could be very strong. However, cannons in every mineral line.
Yeah, this cannon not finished up quite yet, but it will be in time for the Widow Mine. Kelazhur going to see this. I don't think he'll even bother to commit the single Widow Mine. Absolutely not worth it. Instead, going to pull out, scans the third as well, sees the cannon being built there, and is like, I guess this is probably not going to work.
Yeah, Kelazhur tried to scout out with a ground unit, but it got eliminated by a couple of depths, so that forces the scan out. So nice bit of damage done basically by Huck. Just by eliminating that scout, forces 225 minerals to be spent, or not gathered, rather, by scanning that third base.
Yeah, now here comes the Warp Prism. Huck is going to continue to put his own aggression on. Kelazhur has a lot of bio ready to greet this, but I hope he's not gearing up to put it in a dropship, because, oh my god, this could get very awkward if it leaves the base as Huck enters.
Oh, this timing may not be. I don't think this is very good for Kelazhur at all. He's going to be moving forward with these Adepts. The Wallen's going to help a lot. Adepts aren't very good at dealing with buildings in the slightest, and it looks like Kelazhur keeps marching across the map here. He believes he can hold with his reinforcements, but he is a little bit supply blocked.
Yeah, also, look at how much damage Huck is doing to the third base of Kelazhur. He's definitely going to force it to lift off if Kelazhur wants to preserve it. I hope he's paying attention. It's getting very close to red. It could start to burn in just a moment here. And yeah, Huck going to force it to burn, force it to lift, then back right off. At the same time, a huge drop going down in Huck's natural. All the probes are pulled. Time Warp goes down. Couple of force fields blocking these units into the mineral line. Huck warping in Stalkers defensively. He's going to pull the probes and maybe fight with them while the Stalkers try to provide the DPS. And it looks like Kelazhur has enough here to continue killing probes if he micros correctly. It's a very slow drop battle at the other end. Huck putting on a huge amount of pressure.
Big Widowmine hits going off. Nice defenses so far, and the Liberators are really going to be... Oh, there's a hole in the wall, though. He's moving forward. In the meantime, though, lots of workers getting killed off on both sides. 19-12. This is absolute madness. Finally, it looks like... Oh, with those last shots of the Stalkers, the aggression of Kelazhur is done. Can he hold at home? Adepts going back and forth. Warp Prism still not dealt with. Warp-ins still available for Huck if he decides to go for it. It looks like he's going to get out. When the dust settles, it's 59 workers to 16.
Yeah, this command center getting very low. Hopefully Kelazhur has the presence of mind to start repairing that right away. And yeah, one SCV will come off. He's going to take care of that. At this level, you don't generally see players make this kind of mistakes, but it's been a long day, and it's always something you have to look out for.
Yeah, 2 base to 3 base, massive economy lead for Kelazhur. And Huck is just going to go ahead and take a 4th. Things are looking on the up and up with +2 and Blink finishing up as well.
But Jack, Kelazhur has an ace up his sleeve, and that ace's favorite holiday is the 4th of July, baby, because it's the Liberator coming in over this mineral line, getting right on top of all of these probes. Going to deny a lot of mining to start if Huck has the presence of mind to pull his probes away. These Stalkers should be able to blink under it depending on the angle they approach if Huck does this properly, and it looks like he knows exactly how to do this. Going to trade out a couple of Stalkers for the Liberators, and
very easy defense there for Huck.
Now Kelazhur continue to put the pressure on, maybe going to shut down this 4th. It would be a nice pickup. Huck is moving out. He wants to commit. He wants to defend this. And Kelazhur recognizes that Huck's probably going to be able to have the presence of mind, have the units. Have
that Widowmine. So close to killing the Warp Prism, but not quite getting there. Looks like he will go ahead and finish that off. Nice defense here from Kelazhur. He's going to need a lot more of those if he wants to get back into this game.
Yeah, now once again, all these Stalkers... Oh, whoa. Well, Huck has some Stalkers coming in from a very interesting angle here. You can't blink this gap, can you? He's just looking for drops.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to make sure. But now...
and I believe that there is one right over there.
Oh, yeah.
Hiding out in the corner.
It's actually so far, and you can't even see it on the mini-map, but now it looks like Kelazhur's going to come in. Huck, bit interesting. 2 trains passing in the night, a couple pixels more of vision. We'd have a fight on our hands, but it doesn't look like that's going to be happening at this second. Instead, Huck just kind of go back to his base, coalesce his forces, and get ready to once again step out and do what he wants to do.
Time is of the coalescence, and Kelazhur coming in over here, dropping 4 Widowmines. Very nicely spaced out. A lot of damage coming through here. 6 workers killed already. Now to 8, and finishing off the last one is a double Liberator. This drop getting thwarted so quickly.
Yeah, but, oh man, Huck's army is just continuing to grow and grow and grow, scale well, and I think he's in a position where, I don't know, I think Diego's in a bit of a desperate spot. He's still on 2 bases.
Absolutely is, but let's consider the amount of back foot that Huck has been on, and it's been pretty heavily much on the back foot. Kelazhur has been able to keep him there for quite some time, but the problem is that 3rd base is going to land. Giant attack from Huck.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically one of those situations where Oh, God, he gets in, but okay, Kelazhur has identified that there's an attack coming. Units getting ready to engage with the Stalkers. Huck gonna blink away. He wants to fight with his whole army. Fighting with just Stalkers at this stage of the game is not necessarily conductive to his goals. Instead, he's gonna try to get underneath this command center, maybe do some damage to it as he shades Adepts into the main. This is similar to the engagement that happened earlier.
Man.
I think this command center will fall as Adepts continue to stream into the 3rd base mineral line, and I think we're seeing what could be a very rough situation for Diego. SCVs are continuing to fall to these Adepts, which are bouncing back and forth, and there's so much damage potential at the front. The Liberator is really the only reason Huck hasn't cracked the front of Kelazhur yet.
Yeah, very strong positional unit, the Liberator, but the problem is he can just hang out. You can be like, yeah, sure, stay on 2 bases as long as you want, because eventually you will run out of minerals, and that will be the end of that.
Yeah, man, and Huck... Huck's going to back off. He's not going to throw this game. I think he's maybe recognized that he was perhaps a bit too eager for blood. And here it's okay for him to slow down. He doesn't need the chaos. Maybe in this tournament finals with all his experience and his stamina that he's built up over the years, you know what? Maybe he is the better player despite the doubts he had earlier.
Yeah, he is moving forward over here. Going to keep the pressure on that third base location. Kelazhur doing a huge triple drop. And if he attacks right now, this army is...
Yeah. The force of Kelazhur is absolutely paltry compared to what Huck has across the map. He's going to march right up here. A lot of Widowmines that could be dangerous, but no, the Observer absolutely on point. And now there's no AoE, no splash left for Kelazhur. The only thing holding his ramp, once again, is going to be these Liberators. But Kelazhur is hoping for time. He's hoping for time. There's a Templar in position.
Drop over here.
Defensive Storms, yeah, could go down. But lots of Photon Overcharges, of course. Photon Overcharge, very powerful. The Templar goes down without casting any spells, and this is a lot of bio. Huck's going to have to come home to defend this. These are the kind of moves Kelazhur needs to be making at this stage in the game if he wants to claw his way back in, and taking out a Twilight Council is a really good start here. Let's see if he can pick off any more tech before Huck's army get home. This is really bad. There was no Mothership Core, no recall. Kelazhur has free reign to do massive damage here.
And this just tells the tale of how important economy is in StarCraft. We saw Kelazhur come in. We saw Kelazhur catch Huck totally out of position and deal tons of damage. But guess what? It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even scratch the surface of what he would need to do to come back in this game. Look at the mineral patches of Kelazhur. I mean, the place where the mineral patches used to be for Kelazhur. He's got nothing left. He's running on fumes. He has to make this work. And that medevac, just barely getting killed off there.
Kelazhur has a lot of bio still, though. He can be very mobile. He's floating his third down to his natural base, and he's going to do the best he can. Fighting these Stalkers as they try to exit a choke is a favorable position for Kelazhur, or as favorable as he can find, at least at this stage of the game. And Huck just going to back off. He doesn't need to fight this this beefy high DPS army with just naked Stalkers.
Not at all. And the third base finally down for Kelazhur. That standard 50-minute third that we love in Legacy of the Void. What is this, Heart of the Swarm? Madness. And he's going to be moving across the map now. Big Stalker force, like you said. I'm surprised he's not being more aggressive towards this third.
Yeah, these Widowmines aren't burrowed. This is a period of huge vulnerability for Kelazhur as the Stalkers continue to step up. These Widowmines need to get in position. He needs some AoE, some splash to deal with this. Huck identifies the Widowmine line being cast on his
Big drop in
units.
the main from Kelazhur again, buying him even more time.
Yeah, and he's going to bounce back and forth. Kelazhur knows how to come back in a game. Kelazhur knows how to make moves happen. He knows how to make a lot with a little. He's shown us that time and time again. But losing all of these medevacs is such a huge loss to our player who is so broke right now. Even if he had the money to max out, he'd need to make so many supply depots to do it. And Huck is sitting very comfortably at 200 supply. He's getting that Storm. He's getting those shield upgrades, the upgrades you get when you're so ahead that you can afford any upgrade on the menu. He's adding on double robo, and now he's pushing up this ramp. Widowmines are burrowing. They're trying to make the best fight that they can, and Huck doesn't care anymore. He baits it out, blinks back with the Stalkers, and it looks like he should have enough to just steamroll through this.
Power overwhelming, coming through with the Archons, Immortals, and Stalkers. Excellent job there by Huck, taking a small lead and making it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until there was nothing left. That was a total stranglehold game from Huck.
Yeah, but I think Kelazhur displayed an incredible resilience.
Yeah.
You have to give it, and I think for Kelazhur, like the fact that he's willing to stay in that game, to continue to play it out, despite the fact that all nearly seems lost. I wonder for him that's like, maybe he wants to get Huck more tired, drain him. Maybe he feels he can just keep going, man.
It's possible. I mean, at this point in time, fatigue, endurance are big factors that come into a tournament like this. Huck has been traveling quite a bit, and so has Kelazhur. They're both pretty tired. It's the end of the day. They've been playing a lot of games. I was talking to Kelazhur in the one of the winners' interviews. He was talking about how he's played basically the same number of ladder games he usually plays, but when you play a tournament game, it's a lot more difficult. Very, very high focus level. You have to put everything you have into it, and you don't usually play ladder games like that because it's sort of like, if I lose this ladder game, it's not a big deal. if I lose this game of StarCraft, I'm that much closer to, missing the prize pool, getting in the money, or missing the doubling my money from 500 to 1,000 in this particular case.
Yeah, and oh man, both these players obviously they're in the money now.
They're in the money.
We are in the money zone,
we are
guys.
in the money.
Worst case scenario, Huck or Kelazhur is going home with $500.
Yep.
One is going home with 1,000. So both of these guys, I think, pretty happy with their performance so far. Looks like we're into our lobby, getting ready to go. The next map's going to be Arena.
All right.
I haven't casted a single game on this map this entire tournament.
I don't think I have either.
Yeah, which is, I feel like normally we see more Arena than Central Protocol, and in this tournament I saw a lot of Central Protocol and not a lot of Arena. Of course, Arena and Central Protocol are two of what the community divisively calls perhaps creative maps.
And we do have spawning on this very creative map. In the bottom left, our blue Terran player, the Brazilian Hope. He is Root Kelazhur.
And in the top left-hand corner, he's up one map. Will this series go better for him than the last one? Playing for Team Evil Geniuses, it is Huck. Oh, man. So the rush distance on Arena, man. We've got short air rush distance.
Yep.
We've got short ground rush distance
Yep.
into a brutal choke.
Yep.
So I think when you look at Arena, you say the air is probably better if you want to be aggressive, right? You have all that space to move around, whereas it's kind of easy to defend at the choke. But, I mean, both these players have shown us they're very comfortable with Stargate or Starport in that respect in this matchup. And I'm excited to see what they bust out here. This is the high-stakes match. It's the finals. And they're going to play whatever they think is the absolute best, their best chance to win on a map like Arena.
Oh, yeah, and this is one of those moments in time, right? You notice that, right? All Huck had to do was send his worker over into the main. When the worker automatically went around, it went past the fastest path toward the main, he knew immediately that Kelazhur was building a supply depot. And that's all he needed to know. That's all, well, anyway, he felt he needed to know as far as the builds are concerned. He scratched off any of the threatening builds that he was worried about and moved directly back, just scouting off of basically pathing AI.
Yeah, he has learned the same thing that many children at Petting Zoos have learned. He is just as afraid of you as you are of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, man, guys, it's been a long day,
yes,
but we are continuing to power through it. Thank you for sticking with us here in our grand finals to see who's going to take home this $1,000 as Kelazhur looks to be going for perhaps a 1-1-1 strategy again.
Yep, going into one barracks, one factory, one starport, getting into position here. And there was an old build of long ago that was the official 1-1-1, but we've moved on from that as casters and as a community. And it's just sort of a 1-1-1 opening. It's one of each.
Yeah, it describes more of an approach to the build as opposed to the... If you go into Liquipedia and type the 1-1-1, you'll find an old build.
You'll get an exact build order. One of the ones that starts with 6 workers.
Among dinosaur bones and other things buried there is Liquipedia's build orders. Kind of stopped, like, right at 2011.
Yeah, it's right next to the Velociraptor bones that we found. It's
the
right
Rosetta Stone is in there somewhere, too. I mean, you can learn a lot from those fossil records.
Yeah,
but
the temples of Tutankhamun, everything. It's all deep down inside of there. We are going for a Stargate, like you said, like you alluded to. That air play a little bit stronger on this map due to the short rush distances by air. Wow.
Whoa, Huck set this supply depot on fire with a single stalker. Really cool micro. And then really cool decision by Kelazhur to walk the single Widow Mine forward and say, no more till you have detection, Huck. I cannot allow this, but gonna retreat right away once again. He wants to in his mineral line. He knows the same things we do in terms of, man, you can get there really fast by sky.
Absolutely the case, and both players unlocking their air tech relatively quickly here.
Yeah,
waiting for Kelazhur to make a move. It looks like he's going for a bit of a drop here. Hasn't followed up on his starport tech. And ooh, this is a nice bit of harassment here. Excellent liftoff on the Phoenix in conjunction with this well-placed pylon. Will help out quite a bit, but 5 workers killed already. Mothership core going down. Really big deal. And then we finally have 2 more workers. 10 workers have been killed in total
Yeah, I love how... Oh, God, he's continuing to deal with this. There's one middle mine still hidden in the mineral line. That photon cannon should detect it. And, yeah, now it's absolutely going to be in range as Kelazhur moves it. But I love how that timed out, where Kelazhur's drop hit as the two Hellions he made drove across the map. It was a very well timed out, well taught thing that allowed his drop to just have a little extra punch. That in pretty much any other map, you're not going to have those extra 2 units. And, okay, Huck now coming across with his Phoenixes. Let's see what he can get done. Finding at least one SCV on the corner. It's a nice start here. These Phoenixes are very low energy. They had to use some of that defensively, so they're basically just going to back off. But Huck should have a decent read, at least, of what Kelazhur's doing after that.
Yeah, moving forward over here, he is a bit in an economic deficit, but it's not very large. 10 workers were killed, but Huck went for so much of an earlier worker count than Kelazhur did that they mostly sort of washed out. It's 26 workers to 29. Sure, Kelazhur has a bit of a lead, but it's not too huge yet.
But the
coming over here,
Cyclone, man. And Huck is so good at individually microing Phoenixes back. This is something we've seen time and time again. He'll pick one up, he'll have one attacking, and then he'll move the damage one around.
Look at this attack here.
TPS. Oh, it's like a sandwich. Air coming in from one end, Stalkers on the other. He shut down that supply depot. Going to slow down Kelazhur's attempt to kind of wall off, lower the mobility air potential for Huck. Going to phase in some adepts, but he does cancel him. This is really cool what Huck is doing.
Yeah, nicely accomplished over here. He is going to move those adepts out of range. And again, we see this non-committal aggression. He goes in, gets what damage he can, and he backs up. There's no need to overcommit.
Yeah, and now, once again, these Phoenixes going to come in. Oh, man, starting to chip away at that medevac. It's a really nice use of just seeing any damage they can find. Doing some damage on the medevac is great. Ooh, taking some whole damage, though. They really want to get out of there. Now Huck posturing at the bottom of the ramp, phasing some of these adepts in. Going to get right into the mineral line again. The tank actually could do friendly fire if it's positioned correctly, but it looks like instead Huck's going to let it finish down here as the Stalkers continue to push up the front.
Yeah, getting a free medevac there as well. Very nice.
Yeah, and he's going to just kind of poke out, catch any units that are maybe overextended a bit, which Kelazhur, it might be a rally thing. He's continuing to send 1 or 2 Marines, a trickle of free stuff to the happy, welcoming arms of Huck down at the bottom of that ramp. These Phoenixes sitting over the production is really, really cool. If they see anything high value, perhaps SCVs, Marauders, even Marines at this point, he's going to pick them up. In these low, scrappy games, Huck sees any target as worth the energy in APM.
Absolutely. You still have a bit of a lead in workers. And we're still looking. Ooh, is he going to commit to this? All right, no, just a bit of a scout. It's one of those things that you can do. Oh, I was going to say really nice supply depot placement, but he doesn't manage to get them up. It really forces the adept run-bys down one path and one path only.
Yeah, and these Phoenixes, man, Huck is continuing to get so much out of these in a beautiful way. And he's not losing them. I mean, how many Phoenixes have we lost this series?
I think 1 or 2 at this point.
Yeah, and all of them have absolutely, like every single Phoenix should have enough kills at this point that basically paid for itself. The Adepts continuing to poke on the outside. The supplies are still very, very close, but Kelazhur is on a defensive back foot. Well, Huck is adding on his 3rd Nexus.
Yeah. Yep, this is pretty good. Huck has managed to, like you said, keep Kelazhur on the back foot, maintain map control. That's what allows him to take this 3rd base. And he's been denying also the gas of this natural from Kelazhur for quite some time now.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to just add on a bunch of gateways, that production, that infrastructure. He's now going to have the money to support it as he starts to saturate his 3rd base. And, the Phoenixes need to be very careful. They don't want to get picked off by all those Marines. But no, Huck's too sharp for that, man. He's not going to lose his Phoenixes to a silly mistake.
Yep. And that's that kind of a unit, the Phoenix, where you throw APM into it and then you can get value out of it. You can squeeze blood from a stone, as it oftentimes is said.
Yeah, and look, Huck continuing to just pick up SCVs, shaving off 3 or 4 at a time, backing off, forcing Kelazhur to respond defensively, and then just macroing up at home. He's adding on that Zealot charge, a very good upgrade for engaging, especially when he needs to be able to get on top of this. And he deflects the drop, like, pretty handily.
Wow, did he have even any scouting information on that? He just, like, felt it.
Yeah, I mean,
moving in. There's no observer over there or anything like that. Really well done there by Huck.
Oh, this could be a bit dangerous for him with the Marines being pre-unloaded.
Yeah. I think that's why you see that happen, right? So many times in this kind of a situation, you see the Marines pre-unloaded.
Oh, but this actually could be really bad here. He's right on top of the Phoenixes. At least one should go down. Now he's going to back off, but he picked off a medevac that still had a few units left in it, and I believe, and every time Kelazhur, the 2-base player, the guy who needs to make something happen, loses units for free like that, it's really damaging to him, and I love Huck's next move.
Absolutely. Oracle on the way here. Really great, not only for the damage, but especially for that tag ability, that revelation, allowing you to keep tabs, as it were, on your opponent's army where they're going. So important in a situation like this.
Yeah, but it looks like Kelazhur may have found a bit of a hole in Huck's armor. Not really. Huck able to get his units into position quick enough before he was able to get that full unload off. Kelazhur backs off, basically just doing shield damage on a gateway. Not really what he was looking for with that drop. And he's just now moving his command center down to the 3rd base. He's so hungry for new mineral patches that he's moving it down before the orbital, which I think is pretty uncommon.
Yeah. Usually you put the orbital there because you can start generating energy earlier. But in this kind of a scenario, we do have that SCV train moving across. He really needs to make use of that once you're past 44 minerals. And and the crowd goes wild.
For the crowd loves minerals.
Like 44 minerals. Oh god.
Oh man, he just caught 2 full medevacs. That was absolutely huge by Huck, and this puts Kelazhur in a very dangerous position.
Oh, and he's moving to the 3rd.
Bleeding out a huge portion of his army for free. Huck, at very least, will force the lift.
Oh my god, he's not lifting.
Kelazhur maybe thinks he has to defend it, but Huck should have enough DPS to maybe get it if he chooses to blink out her. It's a big commitment for him, though. He doesn't have a huge amount of anti-air to deal with this, and it looks like the bio is going to be enough here to force Huck to back off. Kelazhur preserves his 3rd base, but does not preserve 3rd base mining at this time. Oh, I spoke too soon. He's ready to land it.
Yeah, for those of you at home, there is a slight delay between what the audience hears and what we hear.
So
sometimes it gets a little funny.
But now it looks like once again, Huck just super comfortable, man. And Huck is showing us, we talked about this, Jack, the break, the chance to decompress, that second life. Huck is showing us he can be the better player. He just had to maybe take a minute to compose himself and really think about how he wants to play.
Absolutely. That moment to breathe, like you said, to break, can really change. Oh, nicely move over here. Going to snap the neck of one of those Phoenixes very quickly. And Blink +3 on the way as well. Pretty big upgrade advantage for Huck as well. Just like supply tech, and he's taking a 4th base right now. Huck is just in a fantastic spot, but no reason at all to be counting Kelazhur out. He's a very powerful player. We've seen him behind in these kind of situations before and come out with a victory.
Yeah, and now it looks like Kelazhur is really going to have to take all of his APM, all of his tricks, all of his skills, and just push them to the absolute limit. He does not want to let Huck go up 2-0, because if Huck goes up 2-0 here, Jack, then all he has to do is win 1 map out of 3 to go home with that $1,000, guys. A single map can be the difference between $500 and $1,000, which is just stunning to think about.
And we do have nice stasis ward there. Very cool. I think he might have just barely saw a stalker on the map there. And I think he may be aware of this drop, but as the time is moving forward, it's becoming less and less likely. This 4th base is in quite a bit of danger.
Yeah, I mean, Huck, there might be a moment of star sense as we see his army moving back defensively, perhaps wondering why Kelazhur isn't posturing out to greet him. And all this bio is going to come streaming in from the right-hand side. Going to take the Photon Cannon down immediately.
The Nexus
and then
down.
The Nexus. This is so much DPS, Jack. There's no way Huck can save this. And that's a really good pickoff from Kelazhur. Going to deny Huck some of that gas, that minerals he wants, so we continue to tick up to that high-tech army. He cannot stay around to fight this army, and it's a really good decision from Kelazhur here to disengage.
Very, very low stalker count is what allows these medevacs to escape, as well as nice little bit of micro going on. And I love this, by the way. You put the stasis wards where the other player wants to expand, and they can't expand on top of it.
Yeah, and now Huck, oh man, he's just looking to do damage, checking for that 4th base of Kelazhur as he retakes his own. Kelazhur adding on the Ghost Academy. And Kelazhur throughout this entire tournament has had terrific ghost control. Every single time he has a high ghost count, we see him getting in, blanketing the army of Huck with EMPs while he holds back his DPS units, and then just charges in once the shields are gone.
Yeah, a lot of patience here being shown by both players that drop in the top right, waiting to move in until that last moment. Coming in now is going to potentially, ooh, nice feedback, but not getting any kills, just softening up those medevacs. But Kelazhur's in a bit of a corner here. I don't think he'll be able to get quite as successful of a move this time around. Very nice defense here from Huck. Is going to secure his 4th base.
Yeah, and now it looks like, once again, all these units streaming across the map. I think Huck feels he might be in a position where he's starting to really move towards what I'm going to call a kill army. Look at how high his Archon count is.
Yeah.
His Storm just finished. He has the kind of army now that Kelazhur, I think, is going to really struggle to fight, although this is a high Liberator count.
Well, high Liberator count. He's starting to throw in some buildings, too, to mess with the pathing of this high charge lot Archon low-range army.
Yeah, but I think one powerful thing that Huck has going for him is the Storm and these 3 high-energy... Oh, no, he's got 6 Templars now. Some of them with higher energy, some of them look to be recently created, but he has a chance to take a truly crushing fight with all of the AoE at his disposal.
Yeah, and look at that Stasis Ward, by the way, delaying this expansion. Very nicely done.
Man, Huck he's playing very cute, but also very solid, which is a cool combination to see. Like, he's doing all these cool things all over the map that are really neat, but at the same time, he's not letting Kelazhur get into his base. He's not making those micro mistakes. He's throwing down the photon overcharges. He's got the cannons in position. He's just looking great.
Yeah, he's got Kelazhur up against the ropes at this point in time. Just such a difficult position. And Huck is going to go ahead and just start building tons of cannons, because why not 3, 4 cannons coming out? At this point in time, he's maxed out. He can afford to throw those down, and that just makes it really difficult for Kelazhur to go ahead and abuse his advantage in this kind of situation, which is this heavy mobility of the boost medevac bio.
Yeah, and now there's so much energy built up on these Templars, it looks like Huck could try to take a big concave wraparound. It's the choke there makes it really hard for Huck to try to shove, especially given the supporting fire from the Liberators and the siege tanks. But
I love so much that he's not engaging here. It's fantastic. He doesn't need to. He's so far ahead right now. He does not need to go in and kill that base.
Yeah, I mean, eventually Kelazhur is basically just going to run out of resources, right? This is not Heart of the Swarm, guys. It's Legacy of the Void. And these patches are getting low, low, low. But now Huck, once again, chipping in. Ooh, actually taking just a bit of free damage there. But the Stasis Ward to cover his retreat is super cool.
Yeah, and this style. I was actually talking to EJK about this before. It's such a frustrating style for a Terran player to deal with. This high cannon count, a lot of high Templar. How do you deal with this?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kelazhur is showing us the best way you can. You defend your base with units that are hard to engage, like the Liberator, and then you abuse the mobility of Bio and try to just drop your opponent and never fight him head-on unless it's in, like, a defensive choke with the Ghosts and the Liberators and the Siege Tanks all raining down that high damage fire and that AoE damage. Yeah,
cannons, though, preventing a lot of the ability to use that mobility. Big army here, moving across from the side. An unexpected angle of attack. And it's going to take a little while for our Terran player to set up. We do have a Planetary Fortress. It's being repaired, but there's too much DPS. It goes down.
Oh, man. Great pickup there from Huck, denying Kelazhur the economy that he so desperately needs. It's crazy to see a game here on Arena where Huck is now edge to edge on the map in terms of bases. We don't generally go to this stage in the game.
Not on Arena.
Yeah, man.
Very rarely on Arena do we see this many bases taken.
But Huck's showing us that it's doable if you're on top of everything. All you have to do is play like a god, and Huck is showing us today that he came here to play. He came here to win. Let's see what he can do. Kelazhur feeling the heat, knowing that he's on a bit of a clock, has moved out, has all of these Liberators rather sieged
nice
up.
Position over here. Going to prevent the reinforcements from connecting with the main army.
Yeah, he's cut Huck in half, essentially, and this is going to allow him to take probably the best fight that he could. Huck's army in a head-on fight would probably win, so Kelazhur says, we will not head-on fight. I'm going to split you up. I'll fight half your army, and then perhaps I'll fight another half of it later if I so choose. But it's reflected in the fact that Huck, for the first time in a while, no longer has a supply lead, and it's not like he has a huge mineral bank to show for it, but I don't know if it's going to be enough because Huck still has so much economy.
Yeah, this is a really difficult scenario, but Kelazhur is really using his positional units, his Widow Mines, his Liberators, his Siege Tank, to the best of his ability. And look at the Huck's army. It's been on the right side of the map, unable to do anything for so long. And now Kelazhur is going to be taking out a Nexus.
Oh, yeah, this is absolutely brutal. Huck is adding on a lot of Archons, Jack 5, maybe 6, 7, or 8 at a time. He's continuing to warp in Templars behind this, too. And this is going to be a very high Archon count.
Beautiful.
Oh, God, but Kelazhur splitting his army so well. This is going to be really interesting. These Archons are basically naked. They want some supporting units behind it. Huck is trying to find a sandwich. He's coming in from every angle. Look at these Archons blasting it away. Liberators forcing up. Side Storms go down on top of the infantry, and Kelazhur wins. GG!
Wow. I felt, oh my God, I felt like I was watching a game of chess unfold there. Just like beautiful positioning, coming in the right moment, and it's just sort of like the pieces are moved in such a way that it's sort of like, oh wait, Huck has the bigger army, but he can't do anything about it. That was fantastic.
Yeah, man. Oh,
that
God.
That was beautiful. That was some great StarCraft. That's the kind of stuff you really just you wait for those moments to happen, and you don't see them very often.
Yeah, Huck now saying we're going to go Ruins of Ceres, which is going to be a terrific next map for him, of course. Ruins, I don't know. I think Huck can cause the chaos he wants on Ruins of Ceres.
Yeah, we'll have to see. He's got a lot of room on the large map to be causing the chaos. We'll have to see. Very excited for it, of course. Great game from Kelazhur, and we can hear the countdown coming in. It's time for the next game of the last best of 5 of Cheesadelphia, number 2.
Yeah, guys, we're here.
Man.
Game number 2, all tied up. This game is so important because whoever takes this is one map away from winning, and that's a good place to be in mentally as a player. It allows you to relax. It allows you to maybe play a build that you think is really strong but is risky. You have that luxury. You have that padding. And okay, guys, we are spawned into our map. Let's go ahead and introduce our players in the bottom left-hand corner. Playing for Team Root, we have the blue Terran. It is going to be Kelazhur.
And his opponent spawning in the top left. It's the orange Protoss, EG's Huck.
All right, so we see, of course, vertical spawns here. These can favor kind of craziness going on, perhaps more than a cross-spawn type position. I don't think anything too nuts going to be coming out of either of these players. We've seen Huck favor the greedy Nexus first play a lot, and he's going to go for it once again. I mean, on the 4-player map where you don't know where your opponent spawns necessarily, it's easier to get away with those risks because you know you have time, generally speaking, before they know where you are, and it makes it harder to punish greed.
Yeah, interesting. Kelazhur not opting for a command center. I don't think we've seen him do very many command center firsts at all.
No, I think Kelazhur is a very tempo type of player, where for him it's more important to control the tempo of the game, to have units that allow him to dictate what's going to happen next, than to get that big economic lead early on. We saw Anil Reyna. Kelazhur doesn't need a superior economy to win, and it's something he's done time and time again against Huck in PvT. One with an inferior army, inferior economy, but just brilliant control and positioning.
I can't get over that move. That was so... I know we're in the next game. That was so brilliant. It was just fantastic, and Huck could not do anything about it. God.
And that was the only opportunity, right? Like if Kelazhur had just let the game continue to play out, he would have slowly bled out in a war of attrition.
I mean, he was slowly bleeding out at that point. He was like on the field, bleeding out, and figures out some, you sort of roll over and play dead.
Apply the tourniquet.
Yeah, and just like they come to land the coup de grace, and they turn you over, and you've got your spear ready, you stab them in the heart. That's what happened.
Yeah, it was just a beautiful move, identifying it, but Kelazhur this time gonna go for that CC on the low ground. Not gonna see any kind of crazy 1-1-1 type stuff out of him like last time. Reaper comes in, getting ready to do some damage, already chipping away at a lot of these probes. This is actually a bit uncomfortable for Huck, as Kelazhur takes out 2 probes with this Reaper. He really doesn't want to get caught, because he can get so much utility out of it compared to an average player. Continuing to kite back, Huck's trying to get around. 3 probes should fall at
the Adepts
least.
are going to come out, though. Is he going to surround with the Adept? If he rallies the right way. Oh, yeah.
Jack, you can trade a Reaper against Protoss for 4 probes. I feel like I feel like Kelazhur's got to be pretty happy with that start.
Yeah, absolutely. Get a good scout. You know that your opponent is going for the double adept. So at that point in time, once you see the double adept come out at that time, you know there's no tech out on the map. You know there's no proxy or anything like that. So you can feel pretty secure about what's going on. And 4 workers is, like you said, great for 1 Reaper.
Yeah, and now Huck feels, after maybe taking a little bit of damage, wants to get some counter aggression on, maybe he wants to control the map. Whatever his reasoning is, he's added the Stargate, and I think that's a cool choice. Huck's used the Stargate to great effect in the past.
Absolutely. And close spawns by air, a great way to use that Stargate. It's interesting. He went for Phoenix's last time. Not something we see too often. I wonder if he'll be
Huck
moving
has
into that
gone
again.
for Phoenix first every PvT I've casted of him so far this tournament.
Wow.
So I think for him, they're a unit that allows him to really control the map to get good information. And I think if you use him... Oh, the Oracle. The Oracle goes out. It's the Caster Curse.
He's nuts. The mind games, man. He's like, oh yeah, I always go for Phoenix, but this time it's going to be an Oracle. He'll never expect the 4-minute and 20-second Oracle.
And he won't. There's nothing in the mineral line, Jack. This is very scary for Kelazhur.
Definitely is. The Marine count is nice at the moment.
Yeah,
It's
but
all about where he keeps it, and he's not splitting it up. First turret is beginning to come in as the Oracle comes across the map. This is going to be very close.
Yeah, if Huck micros this correctly, this turret should not finish. No, it looks like...
Be very close there. If he focuses it down, he
Looks
might
like-
just barely miss. Oh, and that turret does indeed get up, and he's got to get out of there. Ooh. Wow, playing it really close there.
Yeah, but
Very
you can
low
see
hit point,
Even
Oracle.
even though it finished, that 1 second of delay definitely allowed an extra 1 or 2 SCVs that otherwise wouldn't have happened. Huck very on point with his Oracle control.
Absolutely. Very nicely done. Very sort of greedily done in the micro rate. Really getting every little bit out of that Oracle.
Yeah.
And we do, of course, have some more Oracle. If first you don't succeed, Oracle some more. But
Yeah.
he's going to have to get out immediately. Oh, my God. Oh, my
4
Kelagod.
4 health. That Oracle is down to 4 health, Jack. And
Ugh.
you could sneeze on this thing and it would explode in a green ball of glory. But Huck, at very least, will have 1 more strafing run with it.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll just try to keep that alive for the tags. We'll definitely have to see. Nice scout on the 3rd base timing here, and he's moving out with... Does he have stim? This is interesting. He's got
Yeah, he does have stim. He has stim, combat
no
shields,
medevacs yet.
and +1. This is
Might just
actually
be
a
able to focus
huge
this
amount of
down.
DPS available. Yeah, I mean,
Oh, I think he's going to force the cancel here. Look
Yeah.
at this.
I don't even think he has
What
to
a great
use
move
stim
out
just
here.
yet.
Yeah.
And
Huck is staying back. He's like, I can't even deal
Nope.
with that. Nice scan comes down. I say this all the time. I love how much Kelazhur scans. He values information so highly. He's like, whatever, 225 minerals is nothing. I'd rather know exactly what's going on so I can make the best possible decision. He's moving in here. This is a quite aggressive move, especially with, it looks like 3 force fields worth of energy in the bank there.
Yeah, and it looks like Kelazhur maybe going to go home with these Marines. You probably don't want to stay on the map out too long,
Not
right?
too long, yeah.
The medevacs obviously are needed for the healing.
They're out
for
past
the
their
extra,
curfew, man.
The mobility at this point in the game,
Mom's
you don't want to get
calling
caught
them
by a
in.
bunch of adepts. These Marines, maybe a bit of a misrally there, meeting a wall of adept fire. The rest of the Marines are like, oh god, it is definitely time to go home. We need those medevacs watching over us. And Huck, oh, does he have... Oh, okay, the Phoenixes right inside here, picking up a few SCVs. Man, Huck, with these Phoenixes, he makes really good use of them.
I think he's lost 2. Not 100% sure. We didn't get to see too much over here, but we're looking at... Oh, wow, picking off the SCV that was about to build a turret. He does remember to re-queue it up here. Going to get more of these zoning turrets positioning rather than just right in the mineral line. Going to try and head and dissuade any sort of attack movements coming in from the north.
Yeah, and now the Phoenix is going to continue to bounce around. It's actually really scary right now because of the incredibly high Marine count. They have stim +1, a moment of looking away, Jack, and all of those Phoenixes could be dead in the blink of an eye. Is one of Huck's gates on? Oh, never mind. It was just a weird effect going on. But it looks like Looks like Huck's going to try to retake this third. Kelazhur knows, though. He got a Marine into the base. Really good game sense here, knowing to scout that. He's going to send a drop into the main wall, maybe siphoning off some other units just outside the vision range
just
of
barely
those Phoenixes.
outside
A
the vision
pixel
over
at
here.
best.
Did he just unload? I think he oh man, I think he accidentally. Oh no, that was all. Okay, here we go. He's gonna move into this position. And he's gonna pull back. Very careful play here.
He's going to wait for a minute, Jack. This is going to be a doom drop, I think.
But the Phoenix there is very dangerous.
Oh man, but maybe with some of the Marines supporting from the low ground coming in from another angle could be so deadly. He's got Marauders and Marines in this. The cannon doesn't offer enough DPS to shut down the drop immediately.
Dropping them in at the same time. He's coming in over here. He's running away with these forces, but he's put the army out of position so hard. Fortunately for Huck, though, it doesn't matter because Palins are a good unit, yo.
Yeah, Kelazhur lost a full medevac of units there. Really unfortunate. Huck was able to target down the more full one. Now some of these Phoenix is going to be getting right on top of the second one, and there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Huck taking some nice trades, man.
Yeah, really good position here for Huck. And we are 1-1 in our best of 5, so whoever wins, it's not over yet. But like you said, you get to that really good position where it's, it's just one game to go. You have wiggle room. You can mess with stuff. Oh, nice. Widow Mines. Very nicely done there. He's going to move in under Liberator Fire for a bit here. This is a full commitment from Huck.
Yeah, and I think he thinks he can do it. Hallucinating the Archon is a cool unit. It gives him some tanking, perhaps will force Kelazhur to make some decisions trying to get on top of it. But now Huck is going to disengage.
That was a very nice defense from Kelazhur.
Yeah.
Very nice defense. And he only lost 2 workers, which is the crazy part about it. You use workers in that way, that buffering way, you don't expect to lose 2. You expect to lose a lot more. And just really great micro from both of these players.
Yeah, man. And these Phoenixes, they continue to be an absolute nuisance to Kelazhur. But at the same time, Kelazhur has pushed the count down. Oh.
Fleet bacon.
Fleet.
We haven't seen any bacon yet in this series, I believe. And that's the first fleet bacon of the series.
So, let me throw this out here, Jack. The way Ruins of Ceres works, there's actually kind of a position that Tempest can get into in these specific spawns where they can do a lot of damage if Huck is going for Tempest, which I think is
the most likely scenario.
Yeah.
Huck is semi-famous for being one of the few players to make carriers work in the previous expansions. Were we to see a carrier, I believe my Protoss heart would melt. We won't. A couple of Tempests coming in, and +3, of course.
Yeah, I love, I think Huck's really going to abuse kind of how that ledge lines up. It means that if Kelazhur wants to try to get under the Tempest to chase, he has to walk around or drop. And if he gets into those medevacs, it's of course going to be perhaps vulnerable to the Phoenixes. Some of these getting caught by the Bioforces now, though. Looks like they're going to be backing off just a little bit. Some of these Marines and Marauders getting on top. The Adepts being slowed down by the concussive shell. He's split Huck's army up once again as Kelazhur about to make Huck in a very bad position. It looks like he's being comfortable going to move up the natural ramp here. All of these gateway units getting on top of this bio.
Really good spot here. Kelazhur once again getting himself into a fantastic position. These Tempests, though, would really help push him out of it if he's given the time to build them up. So far, only 2, and he's beginning to move in from one side to the other, repositioning. Widow Mines moving forward here. Nice scan on the Observer, and the Tempest, though, wailing away from afar, from safety.
Yeah, I think Huck has been able to shut down the beachhead of his Terran opponent. These Liberators going in just to confirm that their Tempest shooting at them. They're like, wait, no, this is not what we are supposed to do. Turning around, going back home, and eating a couple of energy balls to the face. As Kelazhur goes back home, he knows it's now his turn perhaps to assume a bit of a defensive posture. Interesting
here. This is one of the few times that Kelazhur has been ahead in bases against Huck here on 4 base. Much sooner than Huck. So long-term game goes to Kelazhur. Supply lead goes to Kelazhur. But maybe this Tempest fleet is just the edge that Huck needs to grind out an advantage.
Yeah, it looks like, 2 ships passing in the night. Huck's Phoenixes just missed the drop of Kelazhur. That's taking a very long route around to try to avoid any kind of map presence that Huck does have. He's going to bounce back up here with these, perhaps a bit of game sense and
It just gives getting your army into a nice position, knowing where your army needs to be, especially on a large map like this, is a very difficult and very sort of nuancy kind of a skill to develop, and Huck has had years to hone that. It looks though he will be out of position for this 4th base. Very swift cancel here, and putting Kelazhur even greater into the lead.
Yeah, man, Kelazhur showing us he's got what it takes. He didn't come here to play. He came here to win. He wants this beautiful trophy that we have sitting between us, Jack. What are his moves going to be to try to get it? On the other side of the map, though, Huck is trying to make something happen. He's trying to walk. Whoa. This army of Kelazhurs is going to be very hard to engage. It looks like we've got about 5 Widow Mines spread out in a nice concave, a high Liberator count, Vikings to chase down the Tempest if Huck tries to engage at a distance. I am loving Kelazhur's setup here.
Oh, and he's camping on that potential 4th base of Huck as well. Huck is getting pushed more and more into potential all-in aggression, just having to go for it here. Really nicely done. Oh, he's moving forward. All the Tempests are all alone.
And here comes some of the Storms getting right on top of those units. The Tempest shooting best they can at those air units. Huck wants to try to control the Viking count. I mean, with a high Viking count like that, man, it's so dangerous for the Tempest to try to move around and find good angles of engagement. But, okay. Huck's got a few Adepts moving around the map, scouting around, looking for any kind of potential damage. Adepts don't do that well against planetary fortresses. Huck finds this drop here, going to clean it up quite handily. We're going to go to maxed out armies.
Yeah, it's looking like that. The economy, though, the bank, the ability to remax for Huck, not as strong as for Kelazhur. Kelazhur being to move in. He scans the army, begins to set up and position for this potential epic battle.
Yeah, but here it comes. Kelazhur not really into the position he wants to be just yet. Widow Mines on Burrow. No Liberators sieged up. Huck smells blood. He thinks this might be his chance. Storms do go down on top of those Vikings. The Widow Mines all burrow up in a single clump. The Tempest actually are going to be able to splash them down unless Kelazhur spreads out a little bit. But this huge drop is the real story going on in the main base. All of these Marauders targeting down these units. It looks like Huck has maybe just enough to force them out. No, those Adepts are not enough to contest this, and they're going to continue to pile on the pressure. Kelazhur moving his main army back home as he continues to deal damage. Huck is not quite splitting up his army properly. He's going to use primarily Tempest to try to defend this, and Tempest will eventually clean it up. Their DPS in these numbers is actually quite high, which is kind of a bit weird when you think about the Tempest as a unit. But they're very immobile. These Tempests are now out of position if Kelazhur wants to try to put some pressure on another side, and it looks like he's already doing that, moving up the right flank. It's going to take the Tempest ages to get back in a defensive spot here. And I think this base is
again,
forfeit.
Denying the 4th base again. Excellent Widow Mine hits going off. Huge concave here for Kelazhur. Fantastic spot, and Huck has got to go home with his tail between his legs.
Yeah, he's down 50 supply now. He doesn't have a big bank. There's no remax potential right here. I think... Oh, okay. Okay, this is one potentially scary moment for Kelazhur if Huck were to try to get a big arc and catch him, but it doesn't look like that's going to be a possibility anymore as Kelazhur continues to dance around this map. It's starting to just kind of move back. Huck is trying to catch some units out of position. Yep. I think Huck thinks that he can fight this army head-on.
Yeah, and I think that he can fight it head-on. As long as he engages.
Oh my god, Jack, this
right
Widow Mine
time.
is going to splash down on all the Templars. So many of them die already. This is really not a good start for Huck.
Not at all. And he's going to go ahead and deny the 5th base again. Oh my god. Excuse me, the 4th base. I keep thinking it's the 5th base. Just the 4th base again. Nice Widow Mine hit as well. Going to start clearing things off. More workers killed even. And the income of Huck is almost non-existent at this point.
Yeah, I think he's really stuck between a rock and a hard place. If he were to go all in, I think Kelazhur has enough to hold, even if it's just by the skin of his teeth. At this point, he can pull every single SCV to hold if that's what it comes down to, and he'd still be okay. This is really hard for the Evil Geniuses Protoss.
Yeah, this time it's Kelazhur that's got Huck in the stranglehold here, saying, "You will not forth. Thou shalt not forth." One of the great laws of Kelazhur, Kelagod, passed down to his disciples, all of the, Kela Jesuses about doing their thing. And
yeah, the Fusion Core coming up, and I think it's probably going to be for the Liberator range, is what we most commonly see, and that's going to make the army even harder to engage for Huck. An army that, like Huck, is already having a lot of trouble engaging with
Oh
the
my
Widow
God.
Mines fanned out, offering all that AoE, and the Liberators offering very high damage against the high-value units of Huck. This is just continuing to get worse and worse for our Canadian player.
Yeah, a 6th base, a huge bank, a maxed out army, and only 139 supply for Huck.
All right.
He's
and,
being so patient. He's being so patient. He's got a huge lead right now.
Yeah, but you know what? Why not be patient, man? It's $500 on the line here, going for that $1,000 grand prize, a $500 difference just for 2 maps at this point, man.
Ooh, very nice. Our observer there pointing out the advanced ballistics that is Liberator range upgrade and can make a pretty big difference in a lot of these engagements. It really allows you to engage head on without the stalkers being able to blink in and deal with those Liberators. But we do have mostly Tempest Force here. Oh, the splash damage of the Liberator is actually getting some damage in on these Tempests.
Yeah, and now the Widowmine going to go down right on top of
beautiful.
all of these units. The Tempest raining fire down from above. This is really, really bad for Huck. He just doesn't have any left as Kelazhur continues to just stream units. He's also denying the 4th again just to rub salt in the wounds.
That's it.
GG.
GG. Root Kelazhur takes the game. And now he's up 2-1.
This is a horrifying situation as Huck, I think.
Oh, my God. Going through the winner's bracket in the way that you did, beating Kelazhur in a best-of-3 the first time around, losing a best-of-5 to him, and being 1 game away from 2nd place. After all of that success, all of that great play, just 1 game away, 1 loss away from 2nd place. It's not what he's going to be satisfied with.
No, man. The next map going to be Laralac Crests. This could be our final map here at Cheesadelphia, too. Cheesadelphia.
It's a little sad. It's a little
Yeah.
sad.
It's a little sad.
I'm gonna miss it.
I imagine you're a bit tired
Yeah.
at this point.
Are you a bit tired as well? I mean, the
tired.
players are a bit tired as well.
Players are a bit
We're,
tired.
We're all here. We're all grinding it out, doing
Oh.
our absolute bestest to make awesome StarCraft happen.
Yeah, I mean, let me tell you, despite the fact that we're tired, it's not like, oh God, I'm tired, I can't go on. It's like, no, I'm tired, but the StarCraft continues to flow through me.
Yes, let the passion flow through you. And Emperor Palpatine sometimes makes a guest appearance here at Cheesadelphia. Spawning in the top left, we've got the blue Terran player. He is 1 game away from being the champion of Cheesadelphia #2 and winning $1,000, Root Kelazhur.
And his opponent in the bottom left-hand corner, playing for Team Evil Geniuses. Can he bring this series back? It is Huck. Oh man, what a brutal series for Huck so far. I think anything left he has, any crazy strategies, I think if you have an ace in the hole, right? This is the time to play it. Your back is
Yeah,
up
you are
against
literally
the wall.
in the hole at this point. There is only the ace there, and you in the hole. Ace in the hole is the only thing that's happening 100% of the time. Scouting in the correct direction, fantastic for Huck here.
Yeah, and I feel like every little edge that Huck is able to get, he needs if he wants to take this series. He's got to win 2 maps back-to-back against one of the best foreign Terrans in the world right now. And this probe going to go ahead, walk right up this ramp. Going to see the barracks. The wall is in place for Kelazhur. Huck getting some nice damage on that SCV,
he's trying
actually.
to glitch that off into the other side. It is random where your SCV will go, so you just have to keep rolling the dice until you get the right one. And Kelazhur does know that trick and will keep his SCV nice and safe. Ooh, look at this on the low ground. Getting that expansion up and going. It is a little bit more risky on this map than it is on other maps.
I guess we have the Reaper, right? Kelazhur, he's going to get a good read on Huck. At worst case scenario, maybe he sees something that's like, oh God, and he floats his command center into his main base. But he should have good information, if nothing else, and that was backed up by the earlier SCV scout.
That was interesting. He built barracks let it go, I don't know, about a third of the way through, and then canceled it, and instead went for a factory. Interesting.
Do you think that was just a bit of a mistake, or do you think he saw something that indicated to him that was the right kind of move for this situation?
Really hard to tell. He did have the SCV out on the map. He didn't see a whole heck of a lot. In the mind of a champion like Kelazhur, it's hard to read for sure.
Yeah, Huck back at home, adding on his own Twilight Council. As the Adept moves right into Kelazhur's base, this Shade's going to move up the wall. Oh, in the nick of time, and Huck does allow this to finish. He should find 2 Marines basically for free here, which is a nice pickup. And this SCV is vulnerable as well. Oh, Huck, okay, getting some utility out of this Adept, despite the unfortunate raising of the supply depot. Woo.
Yeah, and going for Blink here is Huck. Something we've seen from him time and time again. Starting with that Blink helps you with the drop, moving into the Adept attack speed upgrade from there. Just having this ground and pound force with gateway units.
Yeah, and now they're going to bounce around out here once again. They're going to look for any kind of damage that does go down. A couple of these Marines very low if Huck target fires appropriately, which he does.
Nicely
of course.
done.
Can clean up those Marines, and that's it's nice, man. You want to trade out your units as cost effectively as possible. Huck drops a pile.
Oh man,
on.
another cancel over here. I wonder if this is reactive play or if it's just Kelazhur, getting tired at the end of the tournament, making some mistakes.
Yeah,
it's very scary at this point in time. You just one game away. You really got to stay on top of your stuff here. You need to keep that focus up. And it's the last mile of the marathon here, fighting it out, and you really have to sprint to the finish.
Yeah, and Huck is going to be proxying a gateway. I think we're going to see some very big gateway aggression, or perhaps it's going to be gateway aggression.
Yeah, it puts him in a good spot to be able to take down those rocks, attack the third if the third is going up, but if not, he's still in a good spot to go ahead and reinforce for an attack on the natural as well. Drops beginning to come out from Kelazhur.
Yeah, and this drop looks like it's going to be coming across the map. It's 2 Widow Mines is all it is. Huck should be able to deal with this appropriately. Observer is on the way, so even if he has to sack a couple probes to trigger it once, he'll have a detection to clean it up shortly afterwards. He has identified that this is coming. He's moving his sentry in a position. You probably don't want to stick around once those Widow Mines drop Huck. And yeah, he pulls his probes. He knows what's up. It does get a lock on the Mothership core, but he's able to pull it out just in time. Huck knows exactly how to deal with this, and he's doing a beautiful job. The sentry going to do a little more tickle damage here.
Nicely done there by Kelazhur. Gets what damage he can, gets out, and in the same way, unfortunately about the whole gets out thing. Blink is cool. And Huck with an excellent defense as well. Very good micro. Losing as little as possible to that aggression.
Yeah, and Huck's gateway up there has finished up. So maybe Huck has decided he just wants to have fast warp in there always. If you don't open a gateway, does it increase warp speed?
No.
Are you sure? Because those warped in really fast.
Yes.
I don't know. But I don't know if I'm just tired.
As soon as you press the button, you get fast warping. It doesn't have to finish. You just have to press the button so it starts to turn to warp gate, and you get fast warping.
Okay, but here comes some aggression inside of these inside the mineral line here of Huck. They're putting some good DPS on top of this command center. Maybe going to try to force a lift is Huck. Kelazhur's gone for a Raven again. Oh, man, Huck going to be chipping away at these back rocks once again. Kelazhur trying to set himself up defensively. He does have an SCV patrolling here, so he knows that Huck is trying to open the back door if he chooses to pay attention. Yeah, he pulls the SCV away, so he definitely knows what's going on.
Yeah, Observer out on the map. Do we have one with that Stalker pack?
No, it doesn't look like there's going to be any high ground vision accessible for Huck at this moment in time. But Kelazhur was anticipating the blink up, move his army out of position, perhaps leaving his tank a bit vulnerable.
Very nice move over here with the tanks. It's looking like it's a great position to be in and making it pretty difficult to go ahead and deal with. Blinks in here, gets blasted to shreds by the tanks.
Oh, and the point defense drone going down, going to intercept some of those shots. Does deny combat shield, which is nice, but he traded out a lot of Stalker for it.
Yeah. I don't know if that was quite so worth it. I think one of the main things, though, is that he's secured map control with these Stalkers, and that's allowed him to take a lot faster third.
Yeah. I mean, like if you're Huck in this position, just controlling the tempo of the game versus a guy like Kelazhur is really important. Because if you allow him to dictate what's going on, then you're playing into his game. You're letting him do what he wants to do, and that's really scary. Huck is going to maybe go for a big blink again. Yeah, can he get combat shield again? That would be really nice. He's out of position of these siege tanks, and it looks like he's going to just kite back again, not going to go for the tech shield. Oh, Observer actually shut down thanks to the detection of the Raven.
Yeah. You can't be out of position with Tankovacs. They're too fast.
Too fast, man. But now Huck, maybe forgetting he lost his Observer, it looks like he was going to try to go for a high ground blink again, but he doesn't have any vision. Kelazhur scanning. He knows about the Warp Gate now if he didn't before, and he's probably going to go shut that down pretty quickly. And he's also firing a drop across the map, taking advantage of that short rush distance, perhaps looking to get into the mineral line of Huck.
Yeah, Huck's in a great spot right now. If he can continue to defend the aggression of Kelazhur, he's got the earlier third base. His tech is looking nice. His upgrades are coming in on time.
Yeah, man, this is brilliant of Kelazhur. He's getting into that main base position. Huck has a couple of Stalkers he just warped in, but I think there should be some opportunity for damage. Photon Overcharge is used. Huck is bringing his army home. He wants to fight. Kelazhur still on 2 bases, right? Yeah. Floating the third one over now.
The third now, yeah. Yeah, he's being very safe about things. Building that third base at the natural base. And finally, this pylon is going to go down.
Yeah, I mean, one cool thing I think about what Kelazhur has done with these very late thirds is it's not hard to split your army up anymore when you don't have to split it that much.
That's
he's
true.
been able to deflect everything, but now Huck shading in, going in for the moment as the thermal goes, but all these adepts are cleaned up before the shades can even finish. A lot of DPS available for Kelazhur, and Huck's going to send a much bigger adept train in, looking to get the damage. He's going to warp in right on top of this bio. Taking out the Raven is a great start here for Huck. Force fields go down, blocking out a lot of the potential damage that Kelazhur has, and now he's going to force a liftoff of the third. These Stalkers just getting right underneath it. Tankovacs moving up in a defensive position, trying to get on top of this ledge. They can rain fire down on the Stalkers from above, but this command center is so low. Can he get it? It
low.
looks
He's
like it's going to be
over here. He's
saved.
spending all of his attention on the multitasking here, on the micro of this particular situation. Is going to get that repair just barely in time and defend the attack.
Yeah, and what a great start here, or a great defense rather, for Kelazhur, who now takes a decent supply lead as Huck goes home.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Really, really big equalizing engagement here for Kelazhur. Being behind, he's going to be able to take his third base. He is building his fourth base in his natural, and even moving forward here, I wonder if this is a bit too aggressive, but with these Liberators and Siege tanks, it makes it a very tough situation for our Protoss player.
Yeah, there's no Photon Overcharge available anymore either because Kelazhur was able to take out that Mothership Core. Now Adept's going to be
nice flank from the top.
This is a good sandwich from Huck. The tank of Fact Fire going off on top of all these units. Immortal Shields being used, but I think the bio might have just enough to overwhelm this. Another Immortal does fall, and now there's no big anchor tank.
Oh my god,
units.
Is this it? Is this how it all ends? Is Kelazhur going to be the champion of Cheesadelphia #2, or is this an overextension? He does have quite a few Tankovacs. Oh, missing the pickup there just barely. Workers going down, and whew, things are getting very tense here at Cheesadelphia #2.
Yeah, every single probe in that base coming off the line. Huck holding on by the skin of his teeth as Kelazhur continues to pile the aggression
Relentless.
on, pushing into this base. He never stops. He is everywhere. If you deflect him at one place, he will bounce to another, and he is getting in. The one Immortal is so low on health that manages to survive, hopefully for another barrier cycle, is Huck's dream. He's coming in for a flank with some of these Adepts, but the count is so low that positioning is barely mattering at this point. A couple of units get warped in, but Kelazhur starts DPS
That's
right away.
it, GG, and the fist bumps come down. Kelazhur is our champion.
What a series, Jack.
Oh my god, that was phenomenal StarCraft.
What
really phenomenal StarCraft.
Series. And the crowd on a slight delay goes wild. Guys, don't go anywhere. We're going to hop to a very quick break. We're going to come back to our presentation ceremony, winner's interview with Kelazhur, and then we're going to say our goodbyes. But don't go anywhere. Don't you want to hear from the champion?
That's right.